What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. You got your smart devices, smart speakers. Download the app, take it on the go. And don't forget about the video streams that are up and rolling on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter here this morning. Happy opener to the NFL season day. Chiefs and Ravens getting at it tonight. Then, of course, the Packers, Eagles. Tomorrow night, Packers officially landed in Brazil yesterday. So, football season, the NFL season is officially upon us. We've gotten, high school started off, college D1 started off, Blue Gold will be starting off this weekend too, and now the NFL season is upon us. So officially all on board right now. Every team on board here. So it's prediction time, people. Okay, predictions. What do you got for your NFL season-long predictions? Who's your Super Bowl teams? Who's your matchups? If you want to give me a prediction for MVP or whatever predictions you want to make for this NFL season or for your favorite team, whether it's for the Packers, if you are a Vikings fan or Bear, whatever. I want to hear some predictions from you. Okay. So all you got to do is hit me up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912 or comment on the video stream, Facebook or YouTube, or hit me up on Twitter at DAN Kasper. So we've got football chats coming at you here this morning. Also, don't forget to sign up for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. That's at sportstalk1051.com. Click on the Fan Cave tab over there and just scroll all the way down and sign in to make your picks. That's simple. Super simple. So, football talk coming up here. Brewers last night falling again to the Cardinals and dropping their final series against the Cardinals this season. Offense was pretty darn quiet again until the Brewers tied it up thanks to an Eric Haas home run in the 8th. But the Cardinals able to hit a go-ahead run in the 10th and able to win this game 3-2. So another night where you're kind of looking at the offense. And remember, Contreras didn't get start, Hoskins didn't get start either, but Pat Murphy saying after the game, I haven't loved a lot of what I've witnessed. And in my mind, we have an uphill battle. Saying I love the guys and I love the way they've competed and put themselves in a really good position, but you have to make it constant. You can't take your foot off the gas. You can't coast uphill. So, Colin Ray also saying I wasn't aggressive tonight, so I was trying to make too good of pitches, and it cost us those 2 runs early on. So Brewers dropping the series. They're still 9 games up in the division over the Cubbies. Cubbies combined, was it a combined no last night at Wrigley Field for the first time since, first time since 1972. Combined no-hitter. The combined no-hitter, that's like, how many, is that second one in Craig Counsell's career when he had the Corbin Burns and Josh Hader one over there too? But anyways, still 9 up over the Cubs for second place in the division. However, falling a little bit behind in that chase to be one of the top 2 teams in the National League. They're 3 games behind the Dodgers and 2.5 games behind the Phillies here. Remember, we got that series coming up with the Phillies. So hopefully the Brewers will be in a position, at least when they're going up against Philadelphia, that they can maybe overtake them for one of those top 2 spots there. So, but MLB.com also had an interesting piece. I was checking it out earlier this morning. Each team's player with the most to prove down the stretch. So let me ask you this, Brewers fans, okay? Make your pick. Who do you think is the Brewers player with the most to prove down the stretch? The player that has the most to prove down the stretch. Adam McCalvey from Brewers.com picked Freddie Peralta, saying with Brandon Woodruff injured and Corbin Burns traded away, Peralta went into the season as the unquestioned ace of the team, fueled in recent years by pitching and defense. He's done just fine, delivering a 3.75 ERA and, most importantly, making all of his starts. But if there's a knock on Peralta, it's his efficiency. He's pitched past the sixth inning only twice in 28 starts. A handful of sharp outings in September could prove a big confidence boost going into a Game 1 start in the postseason. So would you agree that Freddie Peralta is the man, the player with the most to prove for this Brewers team? Would you go with Willie Adames? Can we put a rookie in Jackson Cheerio in that category right away? Is it Contreras? Somebody else? Maybe a different pitcher? What do you got? All right, make your picks. I want to hear your picks. Let's see where the majority of this goes. So Brewers have the off day today before they welcome the Colorado Rockies for a 3-game series this weekend at AmFam Field. So off day today, 3 games, and they'll have an off day on Monday before that long stretch of games. So off day on the 9th, and then they won't have another off day until the 23rd. So, but baseball talk coming up here this morning, throughout the morning as well. We'll do some outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Bolks. So, reminder, if you have a question for Jake, our DNR warden buddy, okay, you got to text him in now. Got to text him in by 8 o'clock so we can get those on over. 715-830-1912. You guys know the number. But text us on over. I know bear season just began. We're getting ready for bow season coming up here. Maybe with the early waterfall season, something happened or a question popped up and you want to get it answered. Text it on over. That's what Jake's here for. So he'll be with us in about a couple hours, about 8:30 this morning. We'll do a little receiver defer coming up at about 7:45 this morning. And as always, if you've got a good question that you think is a good question for a receiver defer, send those on over and we'll see if we use it. Okay. So put your thinking caps on this early September 5th. We'll do a little throwback Thursday coming at you as well. That'll be just past the 7 o'clock hour for us this morning. Okay. So what else do we got on the docket here? That's a lot. We'll throw a little Badger football chat in here too as we get set for the second game of the season, going up against South Dakota here. So yeah, we'll throw that into the conversation too. So plenty to get to here. We're gonna be all covering a bunch of stuff here this morning. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Okay. Give me your NFL season predictions. Can be across the board, can be just your Super Bowl matchups or your MVP picks, or if you just want to keep it to your favorite team, whether it's like Packers, Lions, Vikings, Bears, oh my, that's fine too. But give me some season predictions. What are some of your season predictions? Okay. Maybe you think maybe it's just as simple as Packers win the division, they go to Super Bowl. I don't care. I want to hear from you. All right. I want to talk to you this morning. So let me know. Don't forget to log on and make those picks for week 1 because one game can make the difference. Last few years we've done this. It's been separated by a game, and those tiebreakers have had to, they've had to come into play here. So you don't want to miss a single game. But let's jump into it. We'll throw a little football chat in here. We'll throw some baseball talk in here too, with the Brewers falling to the Cardinals. That question we're throwing out there, we're taking it from MLB.com. The Brewers player with the most to prove down this stretch. Now, this is a team, and I think it's a little interesting too because it may sound kind of easy on the surface, but then when you think about it, it's like, okay, they got a really young team. Can you put a rookie into that equation of like the most to prove in their first season? I don't think you can, but maybe some feel that you can. That's fine. But it's a really young team, so a lot of young players. So maybe we only have a handful of guys to choose from there. But who do you think it is? Maybe you think it's a different pitcher, a different starter. Maybe Frankie Montas and Aaron Savali or Colin Ray. Or maybe you think it's Willie Adames. All right, make your picks. Let's get things going here this morning. Lots to catch up on, lots to talk about here. So we'll take that first break and we'll get the leadoff going here. Join in on the convo, all right? Start rocking that texting line, hitting me up with some messages and stuff. Quick break. We'll be back in just a few minutes to get things rolling. Tomorrow morning at this time, we'll be over at Hy-Vee doing the program with the game tomorrow night between the Packers and the Eagles. So we're going to be set up outside at Hy-Vee. Hopefully the weather will be nice for us over there. But to get ready into the football season, the green and gold football season, Hy-Vee is going to be doing a lot of cool stuff yesterday here, or tomorrow, excuse me, especially for breakfast from 6 a to 9 a here. We've got breakfast sandwiches for $4, breakfast quesadillas for $4, breakfast nachos just for $4, plus 30% off the sports shop over there. So if you need some swag to update your green and gold selection, or maybe some Badgers or Blue Golds or your local high school ones over there, they got all of that, plus the new Man Cave Lights for 6-pack, $6.99. If you get that, you get a couple bucks off the Dan Good Burgers or any gourmet burger, plus other deals going on, including a 12-inch Packer cookie for just $10. Giveaways, some Packers appliances, sports shop gear, and a $50 gift card as well. So stop on by tomorrow morning from 6 a to 9 a. We're going to be posted up outside there doing the program, Brandon and myself, with the mobile man cave on the doors that on the other doors on the, like, if you're looking at the store and it's right in front of you, it's the left side of doors there, because that's the closest to the sports shop over there too. So don't forget to stop by. If you got to make a quick stop and maybe you just got to drive on by and maybe toot your horn and do a little go pack go over there. So, but that's coming up tomorrow. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Looking for your NFL season long predictions here. Keep those coming. We'll get to those in just a little bit. The question we kind of threw out there: who is the Brewers pitcher that has the most to prove down the stretch here? Brandon's mom chiming in saying, B's mom, my pick is also Peralta. See you there tomorrow. We got another pick for Peralta from Dave. We've got a pick of a Willie Adames from Greg. Kevin is saying, I agree with the MLB.com article that it is Freddie Peralta down the stretch here. And we got another pick for Freddie Peralta as well. So keep those coming. You can either hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Brewers last night fall into the Cardinals 3-2. They were able to tie it up in the eighth thanks to Eric Haas's home run. But Cardinals able to get the go-ahead run in the top of the 10th there and secure a series victory. Pat Murphy, after the game, acknowledging that a cold streak can spell doom in a short postseason series, saying, I haven't loved a lot of what I've witnessed, talking about his team. I love the guys, and I love the way they've competed and put themselves in a really good position. But you have to make it constant. You can't take your foot off the gas. You can't coast uphill. And in my mind, we have an uphill battle. Brewers have the off day today as they will get set to take on the Colorado Rockies for a weekend series. And then next week, we'll begin that road trip where you've got San Francisco for 3 games, Arizona for 3 games. Then you're back home, no off day in between, with Philly for 3 games. And then the Diamondbacks for a 4-game series. So I got some tough games coming up here as we finish off the rest of the regular season here. Just 20 and some odd games left in change right now. Brewers still remain 9 games ahead of the Cubs for first place in the division, but falling a little bit behind right now for one of those top 2 seeds in the National League. 3 games behind the Dodgers, 3 games behind the Dodgers, and 2.5 behind the Philadelphia Phillies at this point in time. So, good morning, intern.
Good morning. Good morning. What's a Packer appliance?
Well, like, I mean, a toaster, fridge,
okay.
and all that,
Right.
normal appliances like that. So,
Good.
yeah.
That'll be kind of fun to have a Packer toaster.
I've got one, of course.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah, right? So, I know they got a mini fridge over there, so I don't know if that's one of those two, but
good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. Should be exciting, although I'm not going to be watching the game. I'm not going on Peacock or paying for it. So,
well, that's your decision.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I realize that, but I mean, it's going to be fun. I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to chase around and.
Well, knowing you though, that since that you probably have never signed up for it, you would probably get a free trial, so you'd be able to watch it.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. Well, you're
Oh,
welcome.
oh yeah, thank you. I'll think about that.
Yeah. So there you go.
All
Made
right.
your day there this morning.
You have. You have. Maybe I'll try that later on.
Yeah, usually you'd get like a 7-day free trial if you've never signed up for it before
All
in the
right.
past. So
Well, good. No, I've never signed up for it. I might try that.
yeah, all right. Brewers. Let's start off there with them. Do you agree that Freddie Peralta is a player with the most approved down the stretch here?
I think you and I pretty much talked about that all year, that
Hmm.
he's the guy that's got to be the anchor of that pitching staff with, Burns gone, Woodruff out, Miley out, Gosser out, even though Gosser just barely got his feet wet. But Peralta has been a constant as far as health is concerned this year, but he's got to be better. They just have to stop giving up so many home runs.
Hmm. Yeah. And here's one nugget too. It kind of makes sense when you think about it, but once you see it down on paper too, he doesn't he doesn't last long in these games. Let me bring up the actual numbers here, but he's only gone I think it was 6 innings just a couple of times in his 20 some odd starts this year. Now he's made every start, which is
Yeah,
a positive that he
yeah.
stayed healthy that way. But at the same time, when you talk how many times have we talked about pitchers going deep and such, Freddie Peralta is a pitcher that hasn't gone deep, a whole lot this year. It is yeah, he's, if there's a knock on Peralta, it's his efficiency. He's pitched past the 6th inning only twice in 28 starts, this season.
I wonder, and I've never been a pitcher and obviously never at that level, but I wonder if it kind of gets in their mind that I'm only going 5 or 6. I don't have to, worry about going 7 or 8 or anything like that. So I don't know if he is frustrated about that. He'd like to go more. He's never said a word about it. But I've thought about that myself of why Peralta is taken out of these games so soon. Because in the past, I don't think he's been taken out of the games this soon. But this year, it just seems like he hasn't lasted very long.
And when you look at his pitch counts though too, I mean, he's up there with I mean, his last game. So, for example, against St. Louis, on the 2nd here, he went 5 and a third, but he pitched 102 pitches. And then on August 28th against the Giants, he did go 6, but he pitched 105.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
control hasn't been the best either. I suppose that's what it gets. But I don't know. He gets 100 and some pitches. He's lathered up, I would expect, but he's just kind of an enigma this year. I thought he was going to be better than he is, but he hasn't been bad.
no.
He's just, it's one of those things where you expect him to be better than he's been. I don't know if you can call him the horse of the staff, only going 5 and sometimes 6 innings. I'm thinking of the horse going 7 and 8 innings.
Mhm,
Like a Burns or a Woodruff when they were the number ones and twos.
mhm,
So that's the thing that's been. And I don't want to use the word disappointing. I guess I just keep waiting for him to hit his groove, and I
mhm.
don't think he's hit his groove all year long. And I think maybe he'd tell you that too, because it's just been one of those frustrating years for him. Like I say, he hasn't been bad, but he just hasn't been what I think most people thought Freddie Peralta would be this year.
Right. And you look at what he did in August and you're thinking, okay, maybe, especially the way he began August, against Atlanta and the Dodgers, 4 earned runs in each of those games, but then he settled down nicely, 1-0-0, and he ended up finishing the month of August 3-1 with a 2.89 ERA with those 2 starts where he had 4 earned runs in each of those games too.
And those are good numbers.
Mhm, I'd take those,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know? And then St. Louis, back on the 2nd, 5 and a third and 3 earned runs, but what got him? 2 home runs in that game.
Hmm.
And in the month of August, he gave up 4 total in 5 games there. It's always that home run ball that kinda bites him, it seems like, at the most inopportune times.
Yeah, it really has, because he's a good pitcher. I like Freddie Peralta, but he's one of those guys where, come on, Freddie, you're better than this.
Mhm,
Hang in there, because he'll give up that home run. It just seems like not a lot of them, but at the wrong time.
mhm, right. So, do you, agree with, some of the quotes that Pat Murphy said after the game last night, talking about, where, they've got an uphill battle. I haven't loved a lot of what I've witnessed. That is it being a little, I don't know if dramatic is the right word or anything like that, or
I
is it
think he's trying to get their attention.
mhm,
You know,
keep it focused on it? Because we talked about being complacent, right?
you
When you talk about division leads and that sort of stuff, and I think that was a probably the biggest concern among Spurs fans, and with the way I read that, I feel like that's Pat Murphy trying to keep them focused and not be complacent.
well, you want to keep them focused, and you want to, you know, if this would happen, something would happen that this league would go away and they wouldn't make it. I mean, it would be the. I mean, it just is unbelievable. It's unspeakable, is what
Mhm,
it amounts to. But I think too that you don't want to be limping into the postseason.
right.
I mean, last year, look what happened. I mean,
Yep,
that was so disappointing last year. There was no energy in that team. There was no enthusiasm in that team. They'll say, well, they were there trying, but you weren't focused in the right direction. And
mhm,
it's something that I'm sure he was on the bench last year. So he knows what happened to this team in the playoffs against Arizona.
yep,
And you can't have that again this year. And I'm sure he's trying to nip that in the bud, so to speak, before it becomes an issue. And I'm sure he wants to get their attention. But again, are these young guys starting to burn out a little bit? Freelick and Terang, they've been in the league for a couple of years now. They shouldn't be. Mitchell has been in and out with his injuries. Churio is just a young guy that's been fantastic, I think, this year. And is Reese Hoskins getting tired? Is Ortiz going to be? They got a lot of talent, a lot of ability there. Willie Adamas is a rock, and Contreras is a rock. But and I think that's where Adamas and Contreras have to step in and help Murphy with this young team. And come on, guys, however
mhm,
they want to do it, but be the real leaders. Now let's get over this first hurdle,
mhm.
and then we'll get to the playoffs. Then we can. That's when we make a name for them. The only way you're going to make a name for yourself in the division. Who cares about the division winners? Care about who wins the World Series. The only way you get your name for yourself in a division is you blow a lead at the end.
Mhm.
You know,
Yep.
that's fine. Who won the division? That that goes down in history as that's like being a conference champion in high school and not making the state tournament.
Mhm.
It's you don't remember those. You remember the ones that got to the tournament.
You don't wanna put up banners for division championships,
No,
right?
no.
Or pennants or whatever
It's
sport
nice
you're
to
in.
win them, and I'm never
Mhm,
going to downgrade that. But there's a bigger apple out there, a bigger prize you want to go for, and
mhm.
they've worked so hard to get to that opportunity that you don't want to see them kind of fall off now.
Murphy also said we had 6 players in the lineup today who are playing in their first full season, and I think in those situations, they tend to try to do too much. I guess this is a phase we're going through, and a lot of it is youth, but there are a lot of bright spots at the same time. It's just very, very frustrating. We haven't had this stretch of that frustration. The Yankees came in and beat the tar out of us twice in April, but that's different. When you lose like this, it hurts a lot more, especially for a young group. So maybe kind of saying what you said similar to with the younger guys going through the stretch here
Mhm.
too. So and again, I know.
And
I,
that's where you gotta have a guy like Peralta, a veteran, step up. You gotta have some of these bullpen guys
mhm.
step up. I mean, it's a whole excuse me, it's a whole team, obviously. Everybody counts, but there are some that are more leaders than others, and if some of these young guys can step up and show they're young leaders, that's even better.
Mhm. Not to keep rehashing this or anything like that, but obviously some of those comments from Pat Murphy and such. I think it's again another example. It's a different approach than Craig Counsell over the years, isn't it? Just
Oh,
how he
yeah.
addresses it and talks about it in front of the media and such.
Yeah.
A completely different approach.
Yeah, Council was very I mean,
Close to the
Council's
chest and
Council's news conferences were nothing.
mhm.
I mean, he really never shared
Typical
anything.
coach speak, right?
Yeah, it
Sort of
just
thing.
it never shared anything, never had any emotions up or down, and is that good, bad, or indifferent? I don't know. He sure not
I think it depends on the team,
yeah,
you
it
know?
it depends on the team, but it depends on the guy. I mean, like
Mhm,
a guy like I think of the old days of, Lou Piniella and,
mhm,
Billy Martin and some of those guys. They'd they'd give you what they thought was going on, and if they
mhm,
wanted to throw guys under the bus, they'd throw guys under the bus. Murphy isn't gonna do that
mhm,
because you don't throw young kids under the bus. I mean, you just don't. and he's not gonna do that with Adames or Reese Hoskins or anybody else. But, again, I just, think Murphy has a good way about what he does. He gives you something in the news conference of how he's thinking as the manager. Counsell never gave you anything. I mean, Counsell's approach to managing was shown again last night.
It's the combined no-no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
to me, I don't look at a combined no hitter as anything. I really don't.
I
I
know.
don't care who throws it. Combined no hitter, nothing. It's the
Mhm.
one guy, and he didn't let the guy finish. I don't know how many pitches the guy had or what the reasoning is, but you know, we know from his history, Counsell's history, that that's what he does. And uh, agree with it or not, he's not, probably not going to change. But a combined no hitter, big deal.
Mhm. It is. You go, like, to MLB.com and, they're like, "First, no-no at Wrigley Field since 1972," and it's like,
Big deal.
1972, I felt
Yeah,
like still meant more.
yeah.
The
And
no-hitters meant more back then.
they had one call change. I didn't see the full thing to look at it close. One call change in the first inning from a hit to an error. So I don't know how, you know, how justifiable that was. I didn't see the play. All I did is heard that they did that, so I don't know what happened. I can't judge that. But, if I'm the pitcher out there, I'm a little frustrated that,
Well,
give
and
me
how
a
much
chance. I don't care if I've thrown 95 or 100 pitches. Give me a
and
chance.
that's where it was 95 he
Yeah.
had.
Uh,
And the other part in this too is, like, how much Cubs are up big,
yeah.
right? So it wasn't like a 1-0, where one swing changes the
Yeah,
whole thing,
exact. Good point.
so it's like, okay, you got a little leeway here.
Yeah, I've never
Mm,
agreed with that. A guy's got a chance to make history, go for it. Let him go for it. That's
mhm,
not fair, I don't think. The manager's stepping in there. Unless the kid did say, "Oh, I got my shoulder's getting sore,"
mhm.
something like that. But the kid said, "Oh, I'm good to go," and they said, "No, you're not. You're out." I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, because the next 2 pitchers, Pearson pitched 10 and then Hodge just pitched 9, so 114 total
Yeah.
pitches to complete the, complete no-hitter, over
Yeah,
there,
to
so
me, on the record, it'll go down as a combined no hitter, but to me, a combined no hitter is no big
and
deal.
I
I
feel
don't.
like too, if you're that pitcher, I'll go back to when Corbin Burns did it and Josh Hader finished it off. Is that really a it's easy for us to say because we never went through it, but is that a point of pride? Like, "Yeah, I pitched a no-hitter, but did you?" You know what I mean? Like, is that something you wanna does that mean a lot to you? Because even though you weren't the only guy to do it, you know what I mean?
If I'm sitting here thinking, trying to put myself in Corbin Burns' place, and I don't think it's a big deal.
Mhm.
I mean, you pitched and you had a nice outing. You
Right.
didn't give up any hits, but you're not in the record book.
Yeah, I
It's an
just
asterisk there, no hitter. Oh, yeah, but it was 2 pitchers.
mhm. Or it's like that backslash or
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
Corbin
Yeah.
slash Josh Hader and that,
Yeah,
so
and I just, to me, a combined no hitter isn't it's a big deal. It's good pitching. I won't argue that, but I don't think it's something in the record books.
I feel like just no-hitters in general have gone down a little bit in terms of the shine and luxury whatever, because there I mean, we're going through a stretch I mean, there's pitchers you never heard of,
Yeah.
pitching no-hitters and that, but I don't know how many
How
perfect
many have we had this year? I don't even know. We had no
uh,
hitters this year? I haven't heard of a lot of them.
and I think that's part of it too is like, "Oh, yeah, no, no-hitter." Does it mean that much anymore?
Well, I think
Um,
a no hitter is still a big deal. I mean,
mhm.
you're facing major league batters that are very good. If you can throw a 9 inning no hit game, that's a big deal.
We've
It really
had
is.
1, 2, 3 so that was the 4th.
Okay.
That was the 4th. We had one I thought we had one right away. Yeah, April 1st, we had one, Blanco, with the Astros. Dylan Cease with the Padres, July 25th. Blake Snell, did one on August 2nd, and then
All by themselves.
all by themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, those are a big deal.
Mhm.
But I don't think the Cubs no hitter, these combined no hitters are a big deal at all.
Well, like, there was one, last year, July 8th, 2023, the Tigers. Matt Manning, 6 and 2/3, Jason Foley, 1 and a third, Alex Lang, 1. I mean, so you had 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful. Yeah, congratulations, but that's as far as it goes for me.
Yeah, Eric Haas actually caught that game for the Tigers too,
Yeah.
so, but, yeah, it's weird because when you keep scrolling up this list and you see now more the combined ones.
You put that on your resume?
That
Corbin Burns said, "I got
that's
an
what I guess
8
what I was
inning
asking is,
8
like
inning no hitter."
that's
So
what I was
what? Who
asking,
cares? It's
yeah.
not a complete game.
I it wouldn't it's easy for me to say because I'm in this, but it probably wouldn't mean as much to me if it was a combined one. Cool, but,
Oh, yeah,
you
it's
know,
definitely
it's it's
cool. It's
it's
neat. It's great for your team and for your fan base, but for the pitcher, I I just don't think it's fair.
mm-mm,
Unless the kid came out and said, "Yeah, I'm tired," or,
right.
"I'm a little sore here or there," then yeah. But the kid comes in and said, "No, I'm good, feeling good, I can go," and you still pull him, I don't think that's fair. Because
Uh,
they're warmed up, it's not like it's just to me, I don't enjoy a combined no hitter.
mhm, yeah. I'm the same way. I'm the same way as you. So, I'd rather I wanna see some perfect games. Those are the cool ones. Like, the thing too that bothered me a little bit about the no-hitters, and I get it technically, but, like, if you got a no-hitter, but the guy walked 5 or 6,
Mhm.
those type of lines there. I like seeing the zeros all across the board. So, we haven't had one yet. We had one last year, remember, and that was the first time since 2012. So and we had a couple in 2012, 3 of them actually in 2012.
Yeah, I remember there was one year where there were a bunch.
Philip, is it, Humber from, the White Sox, Matt Cain, and then Philippe, the King Hernandez from Seattle over there, and then Domingo Germain from the Yankees last year.
Not
So,
many Hall of Fame names there.
Domingo, 99 pitches too with his perfect game. 99.
Yeah.
That's pretty, lights out. That's what?
Well, if you're tuned in, and he obviously was tuned in that night to do that in less than 100 pitches, good for him.
That's 11 pitches an inning.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Can't even imagine that, in this day and age. So, actually, Philip did it, with the White Sox, 96 pitches. 96.
Ooh, that's very good.
What's the lo David Cone, when he did it 99, 88 pitches.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think David Cohn had, when you mentioned David Cohn, he was under 90 pitches, yeah.
Wow, I'm looking for who's got the least, and right now it's David Cone. Oh, nope, gotta go back to 1908. Eddie Joss, 74 pitches.
Wow.
74 that was the 2nd perfect game in history. Cy Young had the 1st one. Or no, 3rd one. Cy Young had the 3rd one. They didn't keep pitch counts then, it looks like, the first 3.
74, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
He didn't throw many pitches that weren't over the plate.
No. That or a lot of ground balls or fly outs right away
And they
too,
swung
but,
early,
you
yeah.
know, man. Alright, we gotta take a quick break here. We'll finish up the first hour. The question, though, that we threw out there, is who's the Brewers player with the most to prove down the stretch? Do you agree with the majority that it's Freddie Peralta? Should it be somebody else, maybe like a Willie Adames or somebody else on that pitching staff? What do you got? Hit us up with the text, alright? We're gonna take a quick break here. We'll finish up that first hour. Also taking your NFL season predictions, whether it's the Packers or all season long. Let us know. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Make your football season even better this year with Underdog Fantasy. With Underdog Fantasy, you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats, like touchdowns and receiving yards. What I enjoy the most about Underdog Fantasy is the ease of doing my pick'ems. Don't get confused when I log in to start making my Underdog picks, which is a huge plus for me. And making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's easy to use mobile app or underdogfantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code Casper, that's KASPER, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Casper to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 and older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Switching gears here just a little bit. Were you kind of like Mr. RJ Cardinal watching that game on Friday night with Wisconsin and like, really?
I
Sort of,
was there.
yeah. Were you the same as RJ watching that game in the stadium and like kind of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
Kind a little bit.
exactly. That's what I was sitting there with my son and said, this is a Wisconsin Badger team for this year. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Western Michigan is a pretty good team. They're not bad at all. That's where what's his name Fleck came from. That
Hmm.
went to Minnesota, and he had them undefeated there when he was there. So they've got a good football history, but they shouldn't be able to play with a Big Ten team as late into the game as they did.
Hmm.
And if it hadn't been for that punt recovery where the guy running down got hit by the ball and Wisconsin recovered it, I don't think Wisconsin would have won that game.
Hmm.
I mean, there's no excitement in this team. There's nobody on this team that you get excited about. I was hoping the quarterback, he throws a nice ball and he's better than Graham Mertz. And, I think he's okay, but he's not going to lead you out of the wilderness. I don't know if they were just holding back everything and not wanting to show a whole lot
Hmm.
and got lucky and then ended up winning the game.
Doing
Now,
just enough.
just enough,
Yeah.
exactly. This team, the lines, the offensive line, they do this zone blocking and hand the ball off. Every handoff is the same. It's either the quarterback turns to the left and hands it off, or he turns to the right. There's no sprint out. I mean, it's a very that's why I'm thinking it's a very vanilla game plan against Western Michigan.
Hmm.
And going forward, I don't think South Dakota this week you're going to see a whole lot more. But South Dakota is
One of the
no,
top FCS teams. Yeah.
they're no slouch either.
Yep.
But for Wisconsin's line on both sides of the lines, not to be able to handle the Western Michigan line better than they did, that's a cause for concern.
Hmm.
When Alabama comes in here next week, Katie bar the door. If
Yeah.
they don't play better than that, they'll get beat 75-0. And then I watch this quarterback, Van Dyke. And again, the old Russell Wilson days, Russell Wilson would have had 4 touchdowns because he'd hand that ball off. And I don't know where the coaching is here of look, hand that ball off. And that defensive lineman for Western Michigan on their right defensive line, our left side of our offensive line, completely crashing down, giving up his position. And he never once faked that handoff and rolled out to the left like Russell Wilson used to do and run it in for a touchdown or run it down the field 30, 40 yards. The kid, every time he ran, he stumbled. So I'm not sure how good his feet are. I mean, they've got a lot of getting better to do, so to speak. That game was not a good game. They're slow. There's no speed on this team where the wide receivers can't separate themselves. I'm hoping it was just the fact that they were playing a team like Western Michigan. They didn't want to show their whole hand.
Hmm.
So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But both lines have to, and linebacker, I never saw a linebacker make a play. So there's some things that they've got to get better at. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt and probably will against South Dakota. But they've got to get a whole lot better just to be competitive with Alabama, let alone beat them. I mean, That would be a major, major, major upset if Wisconsin beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But after that first game, I think, like RJ, there's not a lot of confidence in this team.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know RJ on Tuesday kind of talked about, like he mentioned too, okay, if they're holding back, I think what was frustrating RJ the most too is like, hearing the coaches and the players, yep, we executed the game plan, we did it, and like that's I don't know if I like that game plan.
I was just
of.
going to say, if that's your game plan, you better step your game plan up a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, because that game plan was not good against Western Michigan. What kind of a game plan are you going to have against Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
They'll often this zone blocking. It's with this team, they can't hold their blocks long enough. They're just number 79, the left tackle. They talked about him going into the draft last year. Well, he wasn't good enough. Nobody's going to draft him. He had to come back for another year. And he's one of those guys last year that was always getting the false start penalties. Well, he's back again. He didn't have any false start penalties last week, but they're not good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not a typical Wisconsin offensive line. At least the center gets the ball back to the quarterback better than that loopy guy last year. But they got a lot of things to improve on. And like I said, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, hoping they were holding back a few things. But if they were satisfied with their performance on Saturday, then I'm a little bit scared.
I know with South Dakota too.
Or Friday night.
Yeah. With South Dakota, they beat was it Northern Illinois? Northern Illinois, I believe, or Northern State, something like that. But it was a D2 school. But they won 45-3, and their quarterback completed 9 passes, and the running back was about 138 yards rushing. And defensive line, I wasn't that impressed with the Badgers too, and that makes me a little bit nervous if South Dakota is able to run the ball and put up those points with your quarterback only completing 9 passes too.
And I never saw a linebacker fill the hole.
Mm-hmm.
We've had traditionally very good linebackers. Last year we were off a little bit, but the one kid transferred to Michigan State that he couldn't run fast enough to get warm. I think it was number 54. Never could get to the hole. So like I said, I hope this was not a true test of how good this team could be, because if that was a true test, they are not going to a bowl game this year. They're going to break their streak of 23 years in a row of going to a bowl game or something like that, because they've got a tough schedule besides underperforming. I say last Friday night, I hope they underperformed. I hope this wasn't to their ability.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they underperformed last Friday night.
Yeah. And I know, first game, maybe knocking some rust off, but on the flip side too, first game for Western Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know on one breath it's like, oh, it's just the first game, and I understand it, and I get that too.
And they're in a hostile stadium.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Wisconsin had every, the little corner where Western Michigan people were, and down in front behind their bench, they had a couple thousand people there probably. But it was a big crowd there last Friday night, and they were rooting for Wisconsin, but there wasn't a lot to root for.
Yeah. Did you partake in a beverage?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't at the stadium.
Okay.
No. But yeah. I give them credit. I wanted to mention it. Glad you brought that up. They did a nice job outside of where I sit. They had to stand the coolers there, and people could go get their beverages and then walk up and pay for it. It wasn't like you ordered it and then the people went and got it.
Okay.
They got the coolers along the wall, and you looked in the coolers, and if you wanted to do this beer or that beverage, so whatever, hard cider, whatever they are, then you brought them up. And as you got closer, there was a guy or two in line. And if they looked a little young, they checked your ID. They didn't check everybody's ID. They can tell who's 21 pretty much. But if there were some that were questioned, they checked them. So there was no hang up there. I didn't see anyway. I didn't get in the line, so I didn't see it. But it looked to me like it was going pretty well. And I think they were smart having the coolers out there. And then the people would actually get their own drinks, bring them up, and pay for them. And there were enough people there to monitor that somebody wasn't going to the coolers and walking away.
Right.
So they did a nice job. And then they had people better see your ID. And they did that, and they were, they weren't right at the checkout. Right. They were 10 or 12 down the line. So you're 10 or 12 in line, then you showed your ID. And then if you're okay, then you go through the line. So it wasn't a holdup. So I think they did a nice job with that. Nice. Unless somebody saw something that I didn't see.
Were you afraid to get carded or something? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, looking at me, I'm sure I would have gotten one of the first ones carded. But no, they did a nice job. I didn't know how they were going to do it, but I think they did a good job with it.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right, it's 1 hour in. We've got more football talk coming up here. Don't forget to get us your predictions and whether it's Packers or season long. We got the NFL kickoff tonight, Chiefs versus Ravens. Football season in full bloom right now. Got some news updates. We'll be back in just a few minutes to kick off the second hour. Second hour kicking off already here this morning on this kind of little wet start to your morning, depending on where you're listening to us from here. We're going to get back to some baseball talk coming up here in just a little bit. But again, Brewers off day today, and then they will welcome the Colorado Rockies. The Twins will be in action this afternoon, looking for a win against the Tampa Bay Rays. Twins falling last night, so they'll be looking for a win over there. But we got some football chat coming up here too, with the NFL season kicking off tonight. The Chiefs hosting the Ravens. If you've got any good predictions or any predictions in general that you want to send on over, whether it's Packers or the entire season, hit me up or hit us up. All right, with quick text and such. So let's do a little throwback Thursday because we got a couple of cool things to or yeah, a couple cool things to kind of acknowledge. It was 1901. This day in 1901, the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues were formed in Chicago, Illinois. It was the first organized baseball league. I think Marty Green covered that event too. So
I think he was there. I think he did. I think he was there.
we've got Branberry Robinson of St. Louis University, 1906, was recognized as throwing the first forward pass in football history. 1914, Babe Ruth hit his first home run as a professional player in the International League.
Did that count towards his record?
I think it did. I'll have to double check that. Then 4 years later, when he was with Boston, threw a six-hitter in the opening game of the World Series. 1960, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali won the gold medal in light heavyweight boxing at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, he was still Cassius Clay at that time.
Mm-hmm. What else do we got here? Sports Illustrated, 1983, became the first national weekly magazine to use a four-color processed illustration on every page. 1980. Do you still? What's the oldest Sports
I still
Illustrated
get
you
it.
have?
Oh, I've never saved them.
Oh, you never said. Okay.
I've saved a few special ones, but
Mhm.
there are guys that have saved every one. They've got them from way back in the 50s.
Yeah.
And, Eddie Matthews is on the cover of the first one.
Yep. That's why I was wondering if you had that
No,
one or
I don't
not.
have.
So,
I
okay.
wasn't subscribing back then.
Gotcha.
But what a difference! What a change in the mag. That used to be. I used to look forward to that magazine coming every week because the writers, Frank DeFord, and the writers they had could paint pictures. I watched the game and I'll read those stories. That's not the game I watch.
Right.
They were so good at painting the week's history or the past week's development in sports or what's coming up and features that were out of this world. I mean, and it was just now it's just, I think it's a monthly magazine now that I get, and it's just not near the interest that it used to be. Or I guess professionalism. It's still a slick magazine with the colors and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but the journalism is a whole lot different. In fact, somebody said they use AI to generate some of their stories, and I mean, those guys, those old writers that were there, would roll over in their graves.
Mm-hmm. I know, like the Grantland Rices of the world. I mean, they had to, way even back in the day, had to tell the story.
Mhm.
Observing these games, and that's where I love going back to read old articles because they had to describe the game because maybe you didn't watch it or maybe you weren't listening. So it was almost poetic in a sense.
Yeah, and I've never been one to save. I read them,
Mhm.
pass them around to other people. I used to, but I never saved them in a box. There's some I wish I had, but I never did. And but that was well, it used to be Sports Illustrated and then Sport. And I never subscribed to Sport. That was more of a Sports Illustrated kept you up to date with the sports.
Yep.
Sport was just stories about people in sports or about a sport, not the reporting on the sport. It was more like a lot of feature articles.
Mhm.
They go in depth and they did a nice job, but Sports Illustrated to me was the Bible of sports.
I would agree with that. I remember, I mean, I still have some Sports Illustrated, like you, special ones, and then
Yeah.
it was actually just a couple weeks ago. I dug them all out just to like, okay, what exactly ones do I still have? And I was surprised I still had one because they used to be sent to my grandma. So whenever I go to grandma's house, there's a Sports Illustrated waiting for me
Yep.
as a kid. But Tiger's first win as a Masters champion, I still have that one. I was like, oh, okay. I kind of forgot
Yeah.
I had
That'd be a
that
good
one.
one.
Obviously, Super Bowl 31 and some of those early 90s Packers cover ones over
Mhm.
there
Mhm.
and such. Cal Ripken, when he broke the consecutive game streak, I got that one still over there too.
I'll
And
have to look and see which one. I know I've got a lot of the swimsuit issues, but I don't. I remember when the swimsuit issues used to come out. This was when I remember I got it when I was started getting it in about seventh grade, way in the late 50s, right around 1960, 61, and they'd have the swimsuit issues, and then they always have the letters that people would send in. Take me off the list. If you're gonna print a pornographic magazine, these gals were in swimsuits. I mean, they were very revealing, and they were pretty to look at and all that sort of stuff. But some of these people would just get over the top crazy.
Mhm.
Take me off. I never expected my sports magazine would resort to this sort of pornography type stuff, and I just always thought, what in the world's the matter with you?
Mhm.
It's once a year and it's well done. The photography was done in some absolutely beautiful places around the world. And I thought it was kind of neat once a year to have that magazine out.
Mhm.
But and I've got a few of those few of those. But as far as the other ones, I'd have to go through some boxes that I don't even know where the boxes are, let alone what magazines are in them.
I'm kind of curious if we have any listeners right now. If you have some old ones, maybe framed up, or do you
Oh,
just do
I'm sure there are.
if anybody's got any cool ones out there? Like, yeah, I think I still do it. I mean, when like for example, when the Bucks won the title, I went and bought one.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
because Bucks were on the cover, it's the Giannis picture. When the Badger basketball team was making that run in the Final Four, bought one. And obviously when the Packers won Super Bowl and that sort of stuff over
And I
there too.
think I
But
saved when Secretariat won the Triple Crown. I think I might have that one. A beautiful picture of him stretching out in the stretch there in the Belmont, like a big machine or whatever they were said. And some of those, because there were some pictures that were just absolutely
hmm
fabulous.
yep, yeah. So, oh, those were the good old days, huh?
Oh yeah.
Back in
Well,
the day there.
yeah,
So,
it's just frustrating to see that that magazine has given way to what it is now compared to what it used to be.
yep. So, but yeah, text us if you got any in your man cave or whatever. How many if you've kept some or what's your oldest one? I don't know what my oldest one. It'd have to be early '90s, but yeah, that's one we.
There were
Sporting news. I
those,
remember
yeah,
getting to the paper. Sporting
yeah,
news.
yeah.
I remember when the Packer Report. I
That
would
was
always get
Sporting News
those.
I enjoyed too. That was
hmm
a tabloid type paper,
Yep.
and that was always fun to read too.
Yep. I remember getting the old school Packer Report when Ray Nitschke was still, I think the editor would write a column in there
Mhm.
in a paper there too. So I remember one time I'd always try to answer the trivia questions as a kid. You'd have to send a postcard in. So what did I do? I'd send a note card because I didn't have a postcard.
Whatever works.
I think they sent me a media guide as a prize one time.
Oh,
And I
good.
think I still have that media guide too because
Sure.
Far's on the cover.
Yeah.
These big old thick media guides there. But yeah, I remember reading those with Ray when Ray Nitschke was still a part of that and writing columns and
So
such.
in the modern day, what are you going to save on your screen?
That's so.
So you don't have anything, that you can hang on to. It's on your screen. Well, get into this website and look at it and this, that, and the other thing. You can't save it, download. That's not near the same as having that magazine off the newsstand or off the rack or in the mail.
It's funny you say that because I mean I'll go back to ticket stubs.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Um,
That's still a sore point for a lot of
oh,
people, including yours truly. My son, the last year the Badgers did it, he saved all because those were very well done,
mm-hmm,
and the different pictures of the players or whatever scene they had on those tickets. My son made a frame. He framed them all for the whole season. And geez, it's a beautiful display. You put the
mm-hmm.
right sayings on there, the Badgers and whatever. and
Yep.
not anymore. So what do you do now? The QR code, put the QR codes on it.
So what I do, because this is what, because I saved all of my Packer ticket stubs, and
Hmm.
I've saved stubs to other games too. But like Packers, I have them in a binder, and ever since they started doing it, so now it doesn't mean it, but I like to keep that collection. I'll just screenshot it and print it off, and it kind of irks me because Hudson's going to his first regular season game next month, and you won't have a ticket stub to
No, and the
commemorate that.
Rose Bowl ticket stubs. I
Hmm.
saved. I don't know what I did with it, but I saved my Rose Bowl ticket stub when they played Stanford the year I went out there, and those are nice memories to have.
Yep.
And now you have none of that.
Yep. Yep. That's the one that still, I get it, ease of use, whatever. It's just that little piece of history, part of
Absolutely.
it there that
Well,
still.
it's memorabilia. It's
Yep.
part of your life. It's a high point. One of the real memorable things in your life. Not every game you're not going to save them, but you know, I was there when Wisconsin beat Penn State years ago. And Greg Bolling was a quarterback from right here
Hmm.
in town.
Yep.
And they beat Penn State. They beat Penn State. And now what do you got? Like I said, you got the QR code. What are you gonna do with that?
Right. Yep.
Or a sheet of paper with a QR. I mean, it's just. I know it's convenience and saves money, cost cutting, this, that, and the other thing, but it's how much money is enough. Of
And that.
course, now with all the changes for getting players in college, you need more money all the time.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's, I don't know. There's something just still, I think.
Not change hasn't been good for everything
Right.
from our fan standpoint, at least.
Yeah.
You know, I just miss the tickets too because they were fun to save. I'd
I,
have saved
yeah.
them all, but a lot of them.
Yep. I'm the same way. It's just there's something still nostalgic about getting a ticket to a ball game. Like somebody just handing you a ticket to a
Yep.
ball game, and what's your email so I could forward them
Yeah.
to,
Yep.
and
Yep.
make sure you download that app
Yep.
so you can open it up and all that too. So all right, let's take a quick break and let's talk a little football here. Packers landed in Brazil yesterday, 10-hour flights. They left at 7:20, arrived about 10 hours later. So they are safely underground in Brazil. Probably not leaving the hotel though,
I was going to say
because
safely is the word that is pretty much dominant there.
I know, right? So we'll talk a little green and gold as they get set for kickoff tomorrow night. Also, your predictions, send those puppies on over. Okay, let's have a little fun. We'll take a quick break and be back in just a few short minutes. Reminder to get your questions in for Mr. Jake Boakes, conservation warden friend of ours, who will join us for our outdoor tidbits in a little over an hour from now. You got to text those questions on over at 715-830-1912. Speaking of the outdoors, don't forget to check out our outdoors page at sportstalk1051.com. We've got the official Ultimate Wisconsin Outdoorsman Quest up there. We've created that checklist for you to check off and submit those photos so you can be crowned the Ultimate Wisconsin Outdoorsman adult and youth divisions over there too. So the entire checklist, more details, again, check it out, sportstalk1051.com/outdoors. We've got the NFL season kicks off tonight between the Chiefs and the Ravens, a rematch from last year's playoff game. And then, of course, Packers taking on the Eagles tomorrow. Saw a couple videos out there, Packers fans waiting at the airport in Brazil, welcoming the team in there. I feel like it's going to be a pro Green Bay crowd over there. Don't know what the splits are going to be like, but you know, there's this Albert Breer from Monday Morning Quarterback a few days ago had mentioned, NFL security was telling teams, don't leave your hotel room if you don't have to. Don't take pictures on your phone, or don't be outside taking pictures. Don't answer weird texts. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I get trying to grow the game, but I mean, come on, what are we doing here now? If this is
Yeah,
a concern,
I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. Did the NFL do the proper vetting of Sao Paulo, Brazil, before they went there? We went to Rio for the Olympics and
hmm
things were relatively calm. I don't think there was any major problems, but Sao Paulo is a different animal. And did the NFL vet the area well enough? If you're, it'll be interesting for the fans because the teams are going to have security,
hmm
but the average fan is not going to have security. They're going to take care of themselves.
yeah,
And so, what kind of a reception they get over there, although I would think Sao Paulo leaders would, put extra police on and extra monitoring around where the fans are, the foreigners are coming in to visit, and around the game. I'm not sure how much touring they're encouraging people to do that are visitors there. I don't know. It'll be interesting when those people get back to hear what kind of an experience it was.
yeah. This was from just a couple days ago. Sao Paulo has tightened security ahead of the first NFL game in South America after players voiced concerns about traveling to Latin America's largest country. Eagles players have questioned the security in the city. AJ Brown said the other day we had a meeting with a whole bunch of don't do's. So I'm just trying to go down there, win a football game, and come back home. He said players were advised not to walk on the streets holding cell phones. Darius Slay said, "Week one, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. But man, I do not want to go to Brazil. You know what? You want to know why? I'm here to tell you why. They already told us not to leave the hotel. They told us we can't do much going on because of the crime rate. It is crazy right now. So you hope nothing bad happens and,
Yeah.
and that, but I mean, I don't know. It's not painting a very great picture leading into this thing.
Well, I think if something does happen that's anywhere close to a major event, I think it'll kill South America for a long, long time as far as any participation from NFL, maybe even the NBA. I don't know if the
hmm
NBA has any plans to get on there and play any games, but that's why I think the people in Sao Paulo, this brings in a whole nother revenue stream if they can develop it.
hmm
But if they blow it, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we'll see how it goes. I know there was some talk last week. I don't know how now there was some talk like was it all on the up and up, but there were some wildfires going on and they talked about air quality leading into it. I think that was last week or maybe even a week and a half ago, such. But Matt LaFleur was asked about it last week and he said he'd never heard anything about it from NFL security and such. So, but we'll see how it goes tomorrow night.
How did this develop? Were they assigned this game? Did they volunteer to play this game? How did it work?
They were they were assigned, but it's I know going back to the schedule makers, or Mark Murphy was one of the first ones to kind of let it leak that the Packers were going to go into it. He said, so I think the Eagles were the first team to be announced over there. Then I think Mark Murphy, if my memory serves me correct, kind of said, well, it's going to be us or the Browns at that point. And it seemed like it was going to be the Packers because it just, again, it worked out, the extra home game, that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. But,
And you want to send teams that are attractive, that
Mhm.
have fan bases outside their own cities. And Philadelphia and Green Bay especially, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, those are iconic franchises that they've got. Cowboys have fans all over the world, so to
Mhm.
speak. And so you've got to pick the right teams. A Jacksonville versus Tennessee isn't going to be much of a draw
Right.
because they don't have that kind of a draw outside of their own cities, let alone around the world. Well, the Packers in Philadelphia, they do have that kind of drawing, and people are recognizing those names. So I can understand why they pick those teams. But still, in all, I don't know. We'll find out when it's all said and done if it was a good choice to go to Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how it all plays out. But main thing, stay safe and come back with a W if you're Green Bay and healthy.
Oh,
And healthy.
exactly.
Yeah.
But how does this work? Do the Brazilians pay the NFL to bring the teams down there? Does the
Uh,
NFL absorb these costs? I would love to know how this is all put together because are their stadiums up to snuff as far as NFL teams are concerned? These stadiums are getting to be, even Lambeau Field, as old as it is, it's a pretty in many spots, it's a pretty fancy stadium.
yeah.
And Philadelphia has their brand new stadium. So are these stadiums up to speed, or does the NFL have to pay to bring these stadiums up to speed? For one game, or is this something they anticipate doing every year? They're going to go to Sao Paulo every year.
So it's at Corinthians Arena. It has a seating capacity of 47,000, which compared to some of these NFL stadiums like Lambeau Field's almost half the
Yeah,
capacity
yeah.
there. But it is the fifth largest stadium used by teams in the top tier of the Brazilian league and the 14th largest stadium in Brazil. It's a soccer stadium. It's hosted 6 matches during the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Um, because of a requirement for it to have at least 65,000 seats for the World Cup opening match, temporary seats were added to the stadium for so I don't know if they're going to have temporary seats for this or not. So,
I haven't heard much from there as far as the anticipation of Brazilian fans to go to an American football game. I don't
uh,
know what kind of ticket demand, what the ticket price might be, because that's not the richest city in the world. I mean, they've got a lot of poverty down there, and how many of the locals are going to be able to afford tickets? I don't know what the ticket price has been, and I haven't heard anybody saying that they're scalping them for whatever. But I don't know what the ticket price is for going down there.
let me see if I can find some numbers here for you ticket price wise. Um, as of Tuesday on Vivid Seats, tickets were selling for a range of $266 to 1,814. The NFL's package starts at 469 per person, but that's only for tickets to the game and access to a reception, not airfare. I don't know what the reception is or anything like that, but this is from Axios.com. So
Well, I can't imagine many locals are going to be paying that kind of money for a ticket.
I don't know. View the package here, starting at 475 per person. What do we? Okay, so you got your sections over there. I don't think they have any available yet. So oh yeah, they do a couple of them here. All right, but yeah,
But
that
it'll be
doesn't include the
interesting to
fanfare.
find out. It's if you don't try, you never know what the outcome's going to be. But it'll be interesting to see. I just, we're worried about the game rather than
Hmm.
all the security and all the extracurricular activities.
And I know a few people who went to when the Packers were in London a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That they made that a trip and had some fun over there and such. But yeah, I don't know if this is it's going to be a trial and error kind of test here. I think for
And
this.
I
So
know a lot of people in the rural areas, agriculture, have gone to Brazil because Brazil is now the largest exporter of soybeans in the world and corn, and they've taken us out of a lot of markets because they've cut down so many of the rainforests. and they've taken a lot of guff for that, but they continue to, a lot of Americans own land down in South America and actually farm down there. So that's what I know about South America, about Brazil, is the fact that tremendous amounts of corn and soybeans down there. The rainforests are going out. They don't have much infrastructure to get the crop from the interior of the country to the coast for shipping and things like that. So it's a developing country, but I don't know about the wealth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I do know, again, it's a social media following, but there's accounts like their profiles or whatever, like Packers fans in Brazil, and they've got like thousands and thousands. But whether they're going to be at the game is different too.
Hmm.
But at least it seems like the Packers have a lot of support or a lot of fans down there. We'll just see if they make that stadium a pro Packers stadium. Competition wise, I mean, I guess I'd rather go there than Philadelphia if you just look at straight
Oh
at
yeah, yeah, yeah,
competition.
yeah.
So you don't have to go deal with the Philadelphia
Well, I
fan
think it'd be
base.
a much friendlier Packer crowd than Philadelphia would be. There's no
Hmm.
question about that. So I think they're getting a break
Yeah.
by not playing in Philadelphia,
Yep. I think that is a
because
huge break.
that's a rowdy crowd.
Yeah, I think Rich Bisaccia even said that a few weeks ago. Said, I think he was asked about going to Brazil. He's like, I'd rather play there than going to Philly. So
Hmm.
that I think that is a huge advantage for Green Bay. Even though this is a home game for Philly, I think it's a huge advantage for Green Bay.
Oh, I
So
think so. So it'll be interesting to see what that means, a home game for Philadelphia in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
yeah,
I don't know what advantage they've got by being the home team. I don't know. To me, it's a horse apiece.
right. I would agree. I would agree there. So, but gonna be weird watching it on Friday night. Not gonna lie, gonna be kind of weird. I mean, I watched preseason games on Fridays before, but
Oh,
not these regular season ones that actually matter.
well, that's why
So,
last Friday night going down to Madison to watch the Badgers on a Friday night, that was a little odd too.
hmm yeah. But then you have the whole weekend to do whatever you want,
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
you
So
do. There's no
a little
question
bit
about
there, but
that. But it was just kind of odd.
hmm
That
uh,
was interesting. Only one Big Ten team lost last week,
yeah,
and they
that
shouldn't
one.
have. And they
No.
shouldn't have. Minnesota should have won their game,
hmm
but
You
yeah.
mentioned them by name. I was gonna say that team by the border
Oh
over us over
yeah.
there.
I mean, their kicker missed two makeable field goals, and cost them the game.
Nope. Kickers.
Yeah, can't live with them. Can't live without them.
Exactly. All right, your Packer prediction. Actually, I'll save it for just past 8 o'clock before we talk to Jake
All right.
over there. So we'll save some of those. Give everybody else a few more minutes to send us your Packers predictions and such, or your NFL predictions. You've got the Chiefs and the Ravens kicking it off tonight to open up the season. Kind of. I mean, we got Blue Golds coming up this weekend too, and now those are like the final ones here, and then we're really into everybody in action football. We're already into the week 3 of 11-on-11 football in high school, and I know 8-man just started off too, so they're entering their second week. But now we're really full on football seasons here.
You bet.
So let's take a break, and then we'll do a little receiver defer to finish up the second hour here. So last call. If you've got any good receiver defer questions that you want to hit us up with, hit me up with a text. Okay. If we like it, we'll pick it. If we like it, we'll pick it. But we'll take a quick break and finish up the second hour after these quick words. Looking to update your flooring game in your home? Maybe kind of taking a quick eye towards the holiday season coming up here in a couple months. It's going to come by fast. So maybe if you're hosting some of family members or friends for Thanksgiving or Christmas, but you want to do a little updating in your home, start with the floors, and you can head to our good friends at Carpet City Flooring Center here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin's premier flooring store. Whether you're looking for some new carpet, some new luxury vinyl planks, or you're not quite sure what you need or what you're looking for, the entire team there will help you out. Great service. The install teams are awesome to work with too. Just visit them at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue, right here in Eau Claire, and the entire team there will help you find the floor that would look great in your home, but also works awesome within your budget too. We'll finish up the second hour with a little receive or defer. Honor goes to you.
Receiver defer. The line group will be the most offensive and defense, most important position group to determine a Packer victory against Philadelphia on Friday night.
Receive it. I will receive that. Opening up the running game for Jacobs, but also protection for Jordan Love there. And then on the flip side, slowing down Saquon Barkley and the scrambling Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, that was my second receiver defer. Controlling Saquon Barkley is more important than controlling their quarterback.
Considering Saquon is involved in the passing game as well, I would say yes, I will receive that.
And some of the ways he's beaten the Packers before when he was with the Giants,
Yep.
yeah, he really has to be.
Yep, definitely.
Receiver defer, getting a little off here. Receiver defer, if you list the most important player for all of Wisconsin's pro teams,
Ooh.
Giannis is number one.
Ooh. For all of it, so are we talking like Badger football too,
No,
or
pro
just
teams.
the pro? Oh, you said pro teams. Okay.
Bucks, Brewers, Packers.
I think when you actually think about it, I might receive that. I mean, Jordan Love is a big factor,
Mm-hmm.
but you could say that for every team with a starting quarterback.
It's 1 and 1A.
Yeah. I mean, Brewers just continue to win. That's such a collective team over there. I like what you said. I think it's 1 and 1A over there. We saw the effects of no Giannis last year in the postseason.
Oh, did we ever?
And I know Dame was injured too, but I mean, we got to see him a little bit, but we saw how different that team is without Giannis in that lineup. So, yeah, it's a good question. Look at you.
Oh, I'm shining. Receiver defer. Now, outside, you talk about the most important player. And I think when you talk to Brewers going forward, you got to differentiate the pitching versus the position players.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree wholeheartedly that, on the pitching side, Freddie Peralta. But receiver defer, Bryce Terang is the most important position player going forward. Because as far now, I'm thinking in this is my vein of thinking. I think Adames is going to be there. I think Contreras is going to be there. But I think of the guys that have to step up and be, he's been good, but be more than what they have been. I think Bryce Terang is the most important player for the Brewers, other than those other two guys that has to give us more.
You might be onto something there because yesterday when Luke was on, we were talking about like who would be your team MVP for the Brewers right now, and he looked up at the WARs, wins above replacement. Bryce Terang had the highest on this Brewers team.
But that's stats,
right? But wins above replacement. I mean, that tells you like, okay, it's a good indicator like how valuable that person is to your team. And when you look, and I was surprised too where Willie Adames was, but boy, that's a tough one though for me. I get what you're saying here too. Ooh, I'm going back and forth between Terang and Willie right now. And
well, I
it's
think
not to overshadow
Adames, and I know wins above replacement, the WAR, this and the other thing. For the average fan, the eyeball test, Willie Adames is the, to me as a fan, an eyeball test, not going into the stats and all this other stuff. Willie Adames is the guy to me that's the leader of this team. I think he's done a good job, and I think he will.
I just don't want
I'm
him to go through a cold spell.
no, I don't
I think
either,
if he
and
does, that really affects the offense.
there's no question about that, no question at all, but I'm thinking Terang has had some moments this year where he's been just out of this world, but then I wanna see the peaks and the valleys level off
Yes.
higher to the peaks and the valleys.
Yep.
That's what I'm kinda referring to,
Yep.
and I think if he can do that, I think that'll determine the success of this team going forward because I think Adames and Contreras are gonna be there. They're
Mhm.
constants. But I think we've gotta have somebody every team always has somebody other than their constant players that steps up in the World Series or wherever it may be going forward in the playoffs.
Would
But
you put Jackson Shearer already in that category of the constants with what he's doing?
no, I wouldn't. Although he's, because I think he's a phenomenon as far as I'm concerned right
Mhm.
now. And I'm hoping he can continue that. And he's done his, but I think Terang is more the leader. He's more the leadoff guy. He's that second baseman. He's in the mix all the time. Churio's in the outfield. I just think Terang, his position on that team, where he plays, where he bats. I think Churio is. I want to leave Churio under the radar. I don't want to call any attention to him because I think he can do it and will do it. But I don't want to put added pressure on him as a rookie. I know Terang is young as well, but I think now he's matured enough where he's the kind of guy you have to look forward to being that guy that can step it up and make a difference.
Terang is such an interesting player in terms of how Pat Murphy uses him in the lineups too with a left-handed pitcher. Then he bats him at the ninth spot. You know, to for one, at the beginning of the year, then they would be sitting Terang, and then Pat Murphy's like, "We're going to give you a shot to prove that you can go out there and hit left-hand pitching." And now they put him at that 9 spot so that he's unique in that aspect where he's not just locked in, but Pat Murphy will put him at that 9 for another kind of leadoff hitter
Absolutely.
over there
That's
too.
good management.
Mhm.
And Terang, I think, understands that. He's not hanging his head. I'm ninth in the batting order.
Right.
That's usually the kid from plays right field. You play right field and you bat ninth. I
Mhm.
mean, he's not treating him that way at all.
Right. And that's where it's like every day when a lineup comes out, I'm intrigued to see what Pat Murphy does because it's, one day it was Blake Perkins, I think, batting in the 2 or 3 spot or something like that.
Mhm.
It's always different. Willie Adames actually batted cleanup last night, and he was always been fifth even during that hot streak over there. So I see where you're going, and I think that's intriguing. I'll slightly receive it.
All right.
Slightly receive it. So, you got any more?
No, well, I do, but I'll defer to you now.
Okay, because I got a golf one coming up
Oh,
here.
good for you.
Did you see the matchup that's coming up here? Once in a while they'll do those. Remember the quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady would be paired up with DeChambeau or Phil Mickelson, and they televise that. Barkley would go for. So they got a new one out here now. You ready
Oh,
for
no.
this?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this.
Little PGA versus Live action. Rory and Scotty Scheffler versus DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka.
Oh, really?
Receiver defer. That's appointment watching for you.
Oh, yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah. I think they hit a home run on this one. Because in the past they'd
What's
have
this
like Steph
format
Curry.
or what's this all about? Best
Is
ball
it?
or
I think it's
total score?
no. I think it's. Let me double check. But I think it was alternating shots. So they'd all tee off. And I think they would take the best one, but then they would alternate. So you'd have to,
Mhm.
say you and I were on a team. We both teed off. We're gonna take my drive because I'm better than you. Uh,
I won't argue that a bit.
and then then maybe you'd hit. Then you'd be up. And
Mhm.
then if you duffed it, well, we'd have to take that. I think that's how they did it. I'll have to double check it to go from that. But
Oh, if we ever did that, I'd have to get our buddy Dan Ganey in here with his magic 5-iron.
I thought you were gonna say with his putting skill.
Oh, well, that's unique to the world too, but, he's got a magic 5-iron, and he plays from 40 yards to 150 yards. But this
Uh,
will be where are they gonna play it?
let me see if I can find out here.
And when? Because we've got the world is focused on the President's Cup right now.
It's a Vegas match. It's going to be in Vegas mid-December. Mid-December.
That'll be interesting.
Yep. Made for TV match in mid-December. So
Now, who do you think gets more advantage out of this, PGA or Live?
Live.
Absolutely, because nobody watches Live Golf. I
Mhm.
mean, Brooks Koepka, he hasn't done anything in any of the majors when he's played. DeChambeau has been in the hunt. He won the U.S. Open because Rory took the gas.
Mhm.
But other than that, who's seen Live Golf? Who cares about team golf? You don't have team golf at that level.
Mhm.
That's what high schools do and colleges do. You don't have team golf at the pro level. So this is a big boost for Live.
Oh yeah. I would agree with that. Definitely. So I'm trying to so it looks like yeah, they've altered the different formats like the last one where they had Max Homa, Rory, Lexi Thompson, Rose Zhang, so they incorporated
Mm-hmm.
some they did it with the skins game on there it looks like. I think that was it that one? I'll have to double check it here in a little bit, but it looks like they've altered it depending on the format, whether it's going to be best ball or something like that. So, I'll see if I can find a little bit more if they've announced it. But that's my guess. I know that's how they did it with the quarterbacks. So but
Got to be a lot of money involved in this.
Yeah. So, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I wonder who their sponsors are for this. Have they announced who the sponsors will be?
I have not seen that at this point. I have not seen that, but it's in Vegas, so I'm sure there's going to be people lining up for that.
Oh, there'll be a lot of people out there, but is it
No,
going to be Cadillac? Is it going to be
I know
Mercedes?
Capital One used to. I don't know if they're going to be back on board for it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. And maybe it's I have not. I just saw the announcement of the four, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm in for that. I'll watch that
Is
for
this
sure.
going to be, Amazon, and then you got to go on Amazon Prime to watch it, or is it going to be commercially available on the networks or the Golf Channel?
They used to do it on TNT because like Charles Barkley would be the commentator, and Brian Anderson would also be Brewer's voice, but also does a lot of basketball. He'd be on there, and Ernie Johnson would be part of that too. So,
But this is a step up.
yeah.
That used to be just kind of a fun thing.
Well, I
And
think
there's going to be this is going to be pretty competitive.
because the first one when it was Tiger and Phil, remember they did that a while ago on Thanksgiving Day,
Yep.
and I think you had to pay extra to watch it.
Did you? I don't remember. I
Yeah,
didn't watch it.
because I remember so Jake Owen, who's a country musician, plays a
Yeah.
very good golfer, played in college or could have. And I remember him telling the story after that because I think Phil, it was a pretty boring match, I think. And Jake Owen made a comment to Phil about kind of a waste of $20 or something like that, trying to be a joke, and Phil handed him 100 and told him to shut up. Or something like that. It was something like
good
that.
for Phil.
So to repay him,
Yeah.
for spending that $20 or something. But yeah, I could see. Let's. I don't think they've announced the place yet. No, I don't think so. All right, but
You bring
okay.
up,
So receiver defer. If you had to pay for it, I know you. Would you watch it? Would you pay for it to watch it?
probably not.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't want to watch it. It's not because I can't afford it. I just get so fed up with so much money. And here we are, the fans who make it all possible, getting jabbed in the backside again.
It will be on TNT, by the way.
Oh,
I
good.
just saw this.
All right,
So yeah,
good,
it will
good,
be on TNT. So,
good.
but yeah, I mean, you got the whole DirecTV and ESPN thing going on.
Yeah, that's something else.
When you think about now, deadlines may spur actions before the first Monday night game, and maybe they'll come to an agreement. But who knows at that point?
Yeah,
So,
because it's not about the consumer.
mm-mm.
It's beyond that. That's for sure.
Yep.
But you mentioned Phil, and I don't know if we've talked about this before. I know I've talked about it with other people. I don't know if you and I have talked about it or not. Can you ever remember a professional athlete losing the limelight as fast and as far as Phil has? Other than, and I'm not talking about the guys, baseball players with drugs, Barry Bonds and those guys, but I mean just for the way he's done things the last few years,
So
losing as much public appeal and limelight as Phil Mickelson.
positive limelight.
Oh, he had positive limelight.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like losing
yeah.
positive.
Oh yeah.
Can we throw Rogers into there?
Well, that's yep. But yeah, that's a
Roger
good one too.
Aaron's still relevant, I would say, in terms of like he's still a player, but
yeah.
Phil just
Phil's off the radar.
Yeah, he's not winning.
No, and
which
he's
makes it
not playing
worse.
well when he does get like when he comes to the Masters.
Right.
He's just not relevant, and there aren't many people watching him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But Rogers would be the same way, although Rogers is still in the limelight.
Yep.
When is Phil even mentioned?
Right.
Ever?
Right.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he's got a lot of money from Sideways Live. I don't know, what did he get? 400 million or something like that, or more than that? Because he's the one that kind of started this whole thing.
Right. And if those numbers were true about what Tiger was offered,
oh my goodness.
Holy moly.
Well, Tiger is,
Tiger's set.
Tiger's got more money he'll ever spend. I mean,
Right.
Tiger's set for 10 generations of his family.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at that, and of all the athletes, Michael Jordan, as great as he was, they're still talking, is it he or LeBron? And I know they talk about Jack and Tiger, but for the modern fan, Jack is kind of my generation, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Tiger is more your generation, although, I follow him and people my age have followed him. But has there ever been, there hasn't, I guess I'm asking a rhetorical question, someone like Tiger that his value is infinite. You can't put a dollar figure on his value.
I will continue to say this, and I've said it so many times, what he did to that sport of golf, and I'll use this phrase that I've always said, he made it cool for me to go golfing.
He did, and he made it a one-man sport. When Jack Nicklaus was there, he had Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, even Lee Trevino.
Right.
So there were other guys. But with Tiger, it's Tiger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it.
I dressed as him when I was on the course.
Rory has never, they thought Rory's going to be the next Tiger. Not even close.
Nope. All right, 2 in. We got one more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. Third hour already on this Thursday morning. Happy football miss for a lot of people out there with season kicking off 2 nights. That one you should be able to watch on TV though if you want to watch it. They're in turn. No Brewer games, so you don't have to worry about that.
No,
So,
but it should be a good game tonight.
you got Chiefs taking on the Ravens to
Pretty good quarterbacks.
rematch of the postseason game last year. No, I don't know if Taylor Swift's going to be there, and I don't really care
Are
at
they
this
in
point.
Kansas City?
Yes, since the Chiefs are the defending champs, they get to open up.
Oh, that's right.
Home,
I wonder what the status of her tour is.
Well, you're the expert, so I mean,
I know she was in London, and I don't know if she's done with her overseas
How
part
the
of that
heck
tour.
do you know that stuff? You are the expert, aren't you?
Oh, I follow Taylor Swift. I think she's a neat kid. Her and I got pretty close.
I know. So,
you want to see the pictures?
I saw it.
I got more than one.
But
I was impressed with her, and I think she's a good kid, and I'm glad for all her success.
Mm-hmm. Now there's like rumors out that I saw this on social media yesterday that apparently her and Kelsey have it planned on the 28th that they're going to break up. Like what? Like where does this stuff come from?
I don't know.
Good Lord.
I hope not. It's been a nice story. She's, the guy that'll be the maddest about that will be Roger Goodell, because she's brought a lot of fans to Lambeau. I remember when she was there at Lambeau, and I went up, and I was lucky enough to be in a box at that time, and I went up there, and there was a whole raft of young girls. I mean, what in the world? There were hundreds of them standing there behind a rope and everything else. And I said, what in the world? Well, Taylor Swift is down here in a box. And I thought, are they going to let them run down there? They said, no, that's where we're here. We got to keep them away from her. So, she's brought a lot of different eyes and a lot of seats in the stands. So never been there before.
Yep. Okay.
I hope they don't break up. I think they're a pretty nice couple. They haven't done anything really outlandish, and
that
well, I mean, somebody would have reported that by now with all the paparazzi that's around them.
That's true. Let's do some fun predictions to get this football season officially underway here before we get to our good buddy Jake, who will be joining us at 8:30 to answer your outdoor questions. Last call for any of those, by the way. Got to text them on over to us, 715-830-1912.
Do you ever ask him for his picks? Who's going to win the Packer game? We'll have to ask him today.
He's a Vikings fan.
What's that?
He's a Vikings fan.
You got to be kidding me.
No.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was a nice guy.
No, yeah, he's a Minnesota fan, so I think he.
So is Doc tomorrow morning,
and so is Brandon tomorrow morning. So there we go.
Goodness!
I mean, we're surrounded.
Oh Lord!
Surrounded right now, so that's okay.
Lord, let them see the light.
Who wins the NFC North division?
Oh boy!
Lions, Packers, Vikings, or Bears? Oh my!
I'm going to say, well, I'm going to be rooting for the Packers, but I'm going to say the Bears because I think the Lions, for some reason, are going to self-destruct.
The Bears are going to win the division?
Yep. Caleb Williams is going to be Rookie of the Year by far.
The Bears are going to win the division.
Yeah. How do you like that?
I don't like that, Kirk Cousins.
Well, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win the division because I think the Lions are going to self-destruct. I don't know how good Caleb Williams is going to be. I don't expect the Vikings are going to be in the hunt really and truly in spite of some of the fantastic players they have, Jefferson. But and the Packers, if Jordan Love can play like he did the last 8, 9, 10 games last year, the Packers are going to win the division.
All right.
Because I think they've improved in some other spots enough that they can win that division.
Okay.
I just don't have any confidence in the Lions. I think that style of play is going to catch up with them. That's going on fourth down all the time. It cost them the championship game last year. I think that was a coaching decision that cost them that game to get into the Super Bowl. So I don't have a lot of faith in the Lions. the Bears have improved a whole lot. They're going to, when they drafted Wood, then they drafted a Dunze for a receiver. They're going for it.
Their coach is on the hot seat too this year. So
Absolutely.
I do think the NFC North is going to beat up on each other a little bit this year.
I do. Yep, exactly. That's why it's hard for me to pick. Okay, so the Packers say they beat the Bears twice. And then do they stumble against the Vikings or something like that? It's as I said, that's why they play the game, to find out how well you're prepared, what your game plan is.
Mm-hmm. I do, for my NFC North pick, I do have Green Bay winning it, but slightly. Like, I've got my 7 NFC playoff teams. They're the last division winner, so they'd be the 4th seed. Just because I think the NFC North is going to beat up on each other a little bit this year.
I agree with you.
And that's where it factors down.
The Lions are good, but I'm just not sure with that style, the way they come into games and things like that, that's going to hold up the whole season this year. Because I think teams are catching up to Campbell as far as his coaching style and some of the moves that he makes, which he's been very successful with most of them. But I think he gets a little too, like in the championship last year, he got too aggressive at the wrong time.
Who is your Super Bowl matchup if you had to pick right now?
Oh, boy. Well, it's not Dallas.
What? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I can't go against Kansas City until somebody knocks the king off his throne. Kansas City is going to be there from the AFC. Boy, in the NFC, oh, man. It's hard for me to pick an NFC team right now. Boy, I don't know. There's about 3 or 4 of them that I've got so close together that until you get a week or 2 or 3 into the season, will they start to separate themselves? It's hard to say.
You want me to go through my?
Yeah,
I've
go through yours.
I've got right here the NFL script.
Okay.
The script, as we know that the NFL is scripted. I've got my hands. You can hear the paper right now.
Oh, absolutely.
This is how it's all going to play out.
I can't believe you don't have that on the screen, knowing you.
Well, hey, this is how it's going to roll right now. Then I got to burn it after I let everybody know here.
Or throw your screen in the river.
Yep. So the AFC, this is how it's all going to shape up.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I'm taking notes.
Chiefs will be the 1 seed because, in my opinion, they play in the weakest division in the AFC.
Yeah, they do.
So they benefit from that. Chargers, I think, are on the upswing, but they lost a lot of players. They're rebuilding. Harbaugh will get there going. I don't know what's going on with the Raiders. They got some talent. I don't know about Pierce as a head coach. Who's going to be their quarterback? Broncos are starting a rookie quarterback. I think there's going to be some growing pains there. Chiefs take advantage of it. They're the 1 seed.
Devontae Adams going to spend the whole season in Las Vegas?
I think he will.
Okay.
I think he will. I think the 2 seed will be the Houston Texans. Jaguars, I think, will probably be their toughest test there. Titans going through a little bit of transition. Colts, I think, are going to be a pesky team there. We just didn't see enough from Richardson last year for me to good gauge there. Texans bringing in Diggs, Daniil Hunter. I think they'll get the 2 seed. The AFC East, I think, is going to beat up on each other a little bit too. But I got the Dolphins as the 3 seed there with that offense. Ravens, again, AFC North, I think, is going to beat up on each other. I think the Ravens will be the 4 seed. Your wild card teams, the Browns, the Jets, and the Bills as the 7th seed.
Why do you think Jacksonville is going to be so good?
I don't have Jacksonville on here.
Well, you said Jacksonville was
I think Jacksonville might be the only competition for the Texans in their division.
Oh, okay.
Over there. But I do not have Jacksonville in the postseason. Then, Texans over the Bills, Jets over the Dolphins, Browns over the Ravens. We finally get a Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers game, and it's in the postseason. But the Chiefs beat the Jets, Texans over the Browns, Chiefs over the Texans. Chiefs go back to the Super Bowl. That's how the AFC is going to play out.
All right.
Sign, seal, deliver.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid for the Jets.
I don't say if it's Kool-Aid. They got too much talent for if they stay healthy for them not to go to the postseason.
Well, that's true. They got a very good defense.
What
do you think they will do on the kickoff? Receiver defer.
Defer.
With Aaron Rodgers on offense.
They'll defer.
Okay.
Yeah. NFC, this is how it's all going to play out. Week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I would not have them at number 1. But now, I got them back at number 1, the 49ers. They got their guys who are holding out back. They're all focused on what's at stake here, what's on the prize, eye on the prize. 49ers will be the 1 seed. I have the Cowboys as a 2 seed because they are a regular season team. They suck in the postseason, though. They'll rack up wins in the regular season. Although my biggest question mark is I don't know how Mike Zimmer is going to do as defensive coordinator over there. That's my biggest question mark.
How's Dak Prescott going to do without a contract?
I think he's going to light it up and he's going to make the Cowboys try to. You wait. I got more predictions with that coming up here.
Okay,
So just hold on.
All right.
Falcons, I've got winning the NFC South because I know Tampa Bay went there last year. I'm not a Baker Mayfield believer. I know they got other good guys over there. I'm not sold on Tampa Bay being the top team in the NFC South. Got Kirk Cousins with Atlanta, a lot of young weapons. They brought in Matthew Judon to help improve that defense. I'm a big Raheem Morris fan over there. I think he's going to do a nice job as a coach. Falcons win the NFC South by default. Packers winning the NFC North, but they're beating up on each other in that division. Rams are the 5th seed. Lions are the 6th seed. Eagles are the 7th seed. Eagles should, on paper, be good. They brought in Vic Fangio's defensive coordinator. They brought in Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. I just cannot get how they finished off last season out of my head. Limping in, no enthusiasm, no energy. I can't get that out of my head right now. So until they prove it differently, I got them in the bottom of that playoff bracket there.
Yeah, I think that's a good evaluation. Yeah, Philadelphia, I couldn't believe the way they just kind of gave up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, self-imploded a little bit there. So Cowboys over the Eagles. They actually win a postseason game. Cowboys over the Eagles. The Lions over the Falcons. Packers over the Rams. Then 49ers over the Lions in a rematch of the NFC Championship game. 49ers go back to the NFC Championship game. Packers in Dallas. And Mike McCarthy's tenure as Cowboys head coach. Packers beat the Cowboys. 49ers versus the Cowboys, or 49ers versus the Packers in the NFC Championship game. Because these are my picks, why the hell not? Packers go. Packers beat the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. There we go.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Your MVP of the season, CJ Stroud. Your offensive player of the year, CeeDee Lamb, because it's got to be somebody different from your MVP. So I'm going with Dak's going to be throwing it all over the place to try to win an MVP, and CeeDee Lamb's going to be the benefit of that. So he's going to rack up receiving yards. Defensive player of the year, Roquan Smith from the Baltimore Ravens. Coach of the year, DeMeco Ryans. Rookie of the year, offense, Caleb Williams. Defensive rookie of the year. This one's tough because remember in the draft, first defensive player wasn't taken until like the teens.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with Jared Verse from the Rams. Comeback player of the year, Aaron Rodgers.
I think those are good predictions. Good picks.
That's how it goes. And now I have to.
How much did the Jets improve their offensive line?
They got better on the offensive line. They improved it. Tyron Smith.
Get better if you and I played for them.
They made some moves.
Better?
Tyron Smith's coming over. He was the left tackle for the Cowboys for the longest time. They got some draft picks. They'll be better on the offensive line. So.
Well, they're going to have to be because they were horrible last year, and Rodgers obviously didn't last very long, and we'll have to wait and see. But he's, 40, 41 years old now?
41.
All right.
I think he'll be 42 in December.
The season gets longer and longer and longer when you get 41 years old.
The sooner he realizes he cannot extend the pocket and run around, the better he will be as a quarterback too.
Yeah.
So that's how it plays out. Packers beat the Chiefs in a rematch of Super Bowl 1.
Oh, that's
signed,
right.
sealed, delivered.
Yep.
Gonna happen. There you go.
I still remember Lombardi in the locker room, the press conference afterward. I know you're going to ask me, but he said, no, I don't think Kansas City is as good as most of the good teams in the NFL. They can play. They're about in the middle of the pack. When he evaluated.
He said, you remember that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
I just,
paraphrasing
him, but yeah, they're about the middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
They're not up with
the big boys out there. So
played was that the Ice Bowl year when they played the Cowboys?
Ice Bowl had been the following year.
Okay, but whoever they beat.
They beat the Cowboys too. And remember that was the Dave Robinson.
Yep.
You got the Don Meredith and threw that interception in the end zone.
Yep.
At the end there. So
it's a lot of history in the league, and it's always fun this time of the year to see who we think is going to be the better teams and who in reality turns out to be the better teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's always a few surprises. And of course, injuries go a long way in the whole thing, like the Jets found out last year.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll be curious to see how this all goes, though. Be curious to see how the. So, Good Morning Football. I'll just Peter Schrager, who's on Good Morning Football, he's noted for, I think he's gotten the last 5 Super Bowls correct, his predictions. He just picked Chiefs over the Packers in the Super Bowl.
Well, he did.
Yep.
What does he know?
I don't know if he's picked the matchups all right or just the winners all right. I'll have to double check that, but that's like a thing. Like, as soon as he makes his pick, everybody freaks out about because he's been so accurate with it.
Has Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback, done enough to warrant $50-60 million a year? I know that's the going rate for starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's taken this team to the playoffs, never got to the promised land.
Well, he got to the Super Bowl, but
he didn't win. The promised land is winning. Is he? I don't know. To me, he's been very good.
Well,
but he's been a beneficiary of an awful good team around him.
He has.
And he's made those guys, and he's played well. I'm not taking anything away from the kid, but I mean, you think of all the other quarterbacks that are mentioned in the league, from Baltimore and Houston and Kansas City and the Jets and even the Packers now. I mean, is he a top 10 quarterback, top 15 quarterback in that league?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know. It's hard for me to evaluate.
I mean, he's got more of a sample size than Jordan Love.
Well, he does. I know that. But has he been the reason that San Francisco's been that good? I mean, the reason Packers were that good last year and got to where they did is because of Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers get to where they have been because of Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it goes hand in hand.
Part of it. He's part of it.
But I think that's part of it, though, too. I mean, not taking anything away from Patrick Mahomes, but Chiefs had a really good defense last year, too.
Oh, yeah.
A very good defense. And, Travis Kelce over there. And, even, if you want to go to the Buccaneers with Tom Brady at the end there.
But
it was
Mahomes
is, exactly. I know what you're, but I
Purdy can't make the plays Holmes can make.
But Purdy is, I think he's got the label of, Purdy's almost a little Tom Brady-ish.
Yeah, that's a good evaluation, I think.
Where Tom Brady, is he the most skilled, athletic quarterback? No, he's not the most talented quarterback of all time. But he's best winner of all time.
Oh, there's no question about that. But, and Purdy has won, but I wouldn't call him a winner yet. Got to win something.
Mm-hmm.
And he's won the NFC, and he's got to the Super Bowl. And I know he's a tough kid. He played that 2-3 years ago had to go back in the game with a bad collarbone or whatever.
It was the elbow, yeah.
Or whatever it was. Tough kid, and I'd like to see him make all that money. Anybody that can do it, good for them. But I'm just, in my mind, trying to rationalize that's team success for the 49ers rather than individual. Brady, you put you and I out there for wide receivers for Brady, and somehow he could win a game. He made them better. Is Purdy making these guys better? Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and those guys. Is he making them better, or are they making him better?
I think a lot of people would still take the success of the 49ers the last few years.
Oh, I would too. Yeah, I would too.
But I mean,
he still threw roster success.
But he still threw over 4,000 yards, completed 70% of his passes, over 30 touchdowns over there too. Still need somebody to generate that offense and to do it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take anything away from the kid. I don't know if I was going to pick 10 quarterbacks to start a team, would he be one of the quarterbacks I'd take? I don't think so.
I think when it comes to quarterbacks, though, too, you got what kind of team are you building? Like, Lamar Jackson cannot play in a certain style of offense.
Oh, that's right.
So that's where it gets like, okay, so what kind of team do you want? Sort of thing. Like, Brock Purdy gets the label of a system quarterback, which I feel like, okay, to me, it gets such a negative connotation to that.
It's well, if you look at it that way, but I think it's an appropriate connotation for him.
But I'm
not looking at it as a negative.
Right. No,
I think he's enhanced.
I would say, yes, he is a system quarterback, but I don't view that as a negative.
Yeah, he's taken advantage of the position he was put in.
Right.
I mean, if he'd have been drafted by Jacksonville or the Raiders or somebody like that, he might be selling insurance by now.
Mhm.
But he's got to the right team.
Yep.
And they put him in the right position. They got the right players around him, and he hasn't done anything to hurt that team.
Mm-hmm.
And he's helped that team.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him, but where does he stand as far as the best quarterbacks in the league versus the roster around him?
I think it goes back to the question, what do you value most in quarterback? Is it just the wins, or I don't know, but
well, the bottom line is you better win.
Mm-hmm. And if he continues to win, he's going to get a contract.
Absolutely, yeah. And I don't begrudge him, but I'm just wondering how much you think he is, Jordan Love last year, the last 10 games, what percentage would you say he was responsible for those wins?
Well, on the other hand, too, you can look at what Aaron Jones was doing down that stretch, and he was on consecutive over 100 yards games. So to play devil's advocate, was Aaron Jones helping out Jordan Love in that aspect,
you can't
too?
Do it alone. I mean, you can't do it alone. That's for sure. I mean, even Brady, like we said, with a lot of the receivers he did, but they turned out they were good receivers. They weren't going to be the all pro or Randy Moss 1 year played with them and should have had that undefeated season. And fluke, I think, that the Giants won that Super Bowl. But again, you can never do it alone. But let's face it, what Jordan Love did those last few games, some of the throws he made.
Oh yeah, yep.
That's why.
Can Brock Purdy make some of those throws? Probably not. I wouldn't say.
No, he's not nearly as athletic as Love or Mahomes or these other guys. But again, and I'm not taking it away from the kid, and I hope he continues to be successful and makes a lot of money. But that's an example of a pretty darn good roster that they put together, and they've been able to hold it together in this day of a salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
But
so maybe the comparison is Jared Goff. Jared Goff got 50-some million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have Jared Goff or Brock Purdy?
That's a good question. I think I'd rather have Jared Goff.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, that's another great roster around him. Like, that team's finally winning, and what happened this offseason?
Yeah.
They had to pay a bunch of those guys for winning.
And how long is that going to sustain itself?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the Packers really and truly aren't getting the benefit of a young quarterback.
No, but they're getting the benefit of young receivers where they're not having to pay 25, 27 million a year right now.
And I'm surprised some of them haven't held out just a little bit.
Can't on a rookie deal. There's that rule.
It's on a rookie deal.
After your third or fourth season, it's after your fourth season, then you can start to.
Okay.
It's after your fourth season. So Watson and Dobbs are entering their.
Can't tell the players without a handbook, about a playbook anymore with all these regulations and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, it's part of the CBA, so they literally they don't have any negotiate. That's why Brock Purdy can't have a new contract until after this year, because that'll be his fourth year.
Think he'll get one?
Yeah, he will. Mm-hmm.
Yep. How much do you think it'll be?
He'll be top
his
5.
Contract will be higher than Dak Prescott's?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is he more important to the 49ers than Dak is to the Cowboys?
Timing might be all the thing there, because Dak can get a new one now. Brock can't until after the season.
Mm-hmm.
So timing might be the situation there.
Would you give Dak Prescott that big contract? I mean, Jerry Jones has really got his back against the wall because he's got no other choice as far as a quarterback unless he wants to take this team down for a couple of years. And I don't think at his age he wants to do that. He wants another Super Bowl. He's not getting any younger.
I feel like they made that move last year for Trey Lance to have that backup option. But Trey Lance, I don't think has blown them away.
No.
When you throw 5 interceptions in your final preseason game, probably didn't help you out there either. So I just, that's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Jerry Jones, but
I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
Yeah, he really wants to, and everybody wants to win the Super Bowl, but he and the Cowboys, America's team, they're in the headlines no matter what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be interesting to follow.
Yeah.
And when's it going to happen? If it doesn't happen now, are they going to say we're not going to negotiate till the end of the year?
What if Dak Prescott starts the season off so super hot where it's like, do they try to do it in the middle of the season there a little bit to cut off what that take could be? Or maybe Dak's like, nope.
Or if he starts out cold, does Dak want to get the deal done early so that
right. I mean, there's so many different.
Yeah. But
ways
how
to go
much?
about
But the
this.
dollars, I don't know. The dollar, depending on how they handle that, the dollars could really vary. If he has a great season, they wait till the end of the year, then the dollar's going to be big. If they do it, if he has kind of a sluggish year, and they do it in the middle of the season, the dollar's going to be a lot different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that because you got Micah Parsons that's going to get a big deal too. So
Oh, that's right. Yep.
a lot
On
of
the
money
defensive side of the ball, he's going to get a lot.
Mm-hmm. And you just gave CD Lamb a huge deal. I don't know. I guess, all things, this is a very generic blank statement. I'd rather pay a quarterback and then maybe just keep drafting receivers every couple of years to keep them cheap that
if
way.
If you got a quarterback that can, that's that valuable, yeah, I agree with you 100%. It really is the model to do that because there are so many receivers that come out every year that are so good.
Well, look at the Chiefs, right? I mean, can you name a receiver on the Chiefs right now? Not tight end.
I was going to say outside the tight end, not really.
So I mean, they had Tyreek Hill, and then what'd they do when he won a new contract? They shipped him off, and they still won Super Bowls.
Yep, exactly.
So,
and that kind of, I want, for a guy like Tyreek Hill, I wonder if he has to eat a little humble pie.
Well, it's probably expensive humble pie because he can afford it right now.
Well, he can. I mean, he got a big contract, but outside of that quarterback, is there anybody on a roster that's bigger than the team? There are a few guys in history. I think about the Packers, Reggie White. Remember when he signed that $17 million he got for I don't know how many years? That was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But and Aaron Donald with the Rams, a few of those other players that really made a difference.
Yep.
Other than the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got to take a quick break, and then it's time for some outdoor tidbits with Mr. Jake Boakes coming up after these quick words. Have you checked out the food at the VFW Post 305 lately? From their taco omelets to their Friday fish fry, the menu at the VFW Post 305 has something for everyone. Plus, with their expanded kitchen hours, they are your new go-to place for a meal, good company, and good entertainment with music happening on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So the next time you're wondering where you should be doing breakfast, dinner, or lunch, head on over to the VFW Post 305, located at 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. Try the taco omelet, trust me.
Keep your feet warm and dry this winter with the Shoe Doctor in Eau Claire. Only the Shoe Doctor has over 4,500 styles of footwear and personalized fitting for everyone in your family. It's backed by the Shoe Doctor's exclusive 30-day comfort guarantee, so you know you'll walk away happy. The selection, brands, sizes, widths, service, and prices that fit just right. Come see for yourself at the Shoe Doctor. Easy to find. 2321 Claremont near Fairfax in Eau Claire.
Hey, baseball fans in Eau Claire, are you ready to hit a home run with your taste buds? Swing by Sammy's Pizza Restaurant and Pub, your ultimate dining destination in the heart of Eau Claire. Whether celebrating a big win or gearing up for the next game, Sammy's is perfect to fuel your appetite with mouth-watering pizzas, sizzling hot wings, and refreshing drinks. Why settle for peanuts and Cracker Jacks when you can feast like an MVP at Sammy's Pizza Restaurant and Pub, 2812 London Road, or order online at sammyspizzaeauclaire.com. Sammy's, where great food and great times collide.
Roger closed the door, hung up the keys, and gave his golden retriever a big hug. Then, popped a cold beer. See, Roger was celebrating a great day at work. He used his brain to find a great solution for a local business's marketing dilemma. Now, this local business supports the community and its employees, serves a need that makes lives better. And Roger had a hand in it all and can watch this business grow. Roger presented a marketing solution that was focused on his customer, not selling them stuff they don't need. Roger has a pretty neat job helping all kinds of companies, big and small, become better and more profitable. Now, if this sounds like you, do what Roger did. Go to MidwestFamilyEC.com and apply today. You might just be the next Roger or Susan or Dale that joins the sales and marketing team. Choose job satisfaction. Choose Midwest Family Eau Claire. Help yourself and other companies grow. Go to MidwestFamilyEC.com and apply today. Midwest Family Eau Claire is an equal opportunity employer.
Service Master of Chippewa Valley is your local expert when it comes to fire and water damage, carpet and air hair duct cleaning, mold remediation, and trauma. They're when you need them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Trust comes in the yellow truck. Learn more at ServiceMasterChippewa.com.
Do you know of anyone who needs some help chasing their dreams and passions? Backyard Dreams wants to help. Email us at info@sportstalk1051.com so we can help.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your Outdoor Tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
It is time for our Outdoor Tidbits with Mr. Jake Boakes, Conservation Warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Now that we are officially in the month of September, we've got...
Did they hire him knowing he was a Vikings fan?
Ooh, Jake.
I don't think they knew that at the time.
Coming out of the gate right away.
That's a lie. That's a lie. We do a pretty thorough background search or check. I would imagine they knew it and probably just took what they could get.
Oh, man. Not only is it hunting season coming up here, it's football season, so we get to do a little trash talk in there, too. So, how you doing there? How you doing there, Jake?
I'm doing good. It's had a couple of fantasy drafts the last couple of days. Football starting, so I'm excited for that.
How many bear did they get yesterday? Did you hear? Did you get out and see anybody shooting a bear?
I talked with plenty of people that were excited. I think the warm temperature kind of pushed a lot of those bears to evening bears. So I didn't get a lot of calls or pictures from people harvesting ones that they had been seeing during legal hours. So I think with the cooler weather coming the next couple of days, I bet you that's when people are going to be successful.
You know, speaking of bear hunting, that did start yesterday, Jake. Maybe a good kind of refresher on some of the regulations and such. I mean, are people still able to use dogs or baiting and all that? You know, what's kind of maybe a good refresher for everybody getting ready to head outside?
Yeah. So the big thing right now is that if you're hunting, if you're bear hunting, every year, if you're not aware, every year they switch off. Like go out in the field first, whether it's hound hunters or baiters. And this year it's baiters. So anyone that's baiting anywhere in the state started yesterday and can go hunting. If you're specifically only hunting bears with dogs, like hounding them, or with hounds, that doesn't start until later in the season. So if most hunters already know this, but if you do see dogs running around, anywhere in the state chasing bears, that would be illegal right now. So always feel free to call in to your local warden.
So can they practice right now with dogs, or is that off limits right now too?
Yeah, right now, the only thing is with the aid of with baiting or any other legal method, not using dogs. So you couldn't be out running, you couldn't be out doing this kind of stuff. When you're in the actual season like this, then it's a little bit different.
Gotcha. Okay. And then for anybody who does get a bear, is it the same kind of registration process as if they got a deer? Just do it online or call it in?
It is a little bit. For bear hunting, they still have that. You still have to print off the actual hard copy tag. So, that is a good point you brought up. So when you're out and about hunting, it is a little bit different than deer and everything else right now, where all you need is like a driver's license. Legally, for bear, you still have to have, proof of a license, but you also have to have your carcass tag or harvest authorization. There was a couple years where with deer, you had to print off the paper and then you had to validate it still, whether it was ripping off the bottom or writing in the date. That's still the same with bear. You have to possess that paper tag and then immediately validate it once you harvest your bear. And I believe validating it is just like ripping off the bottom part where it says rip here, tear here.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, so that's a good point actually, Dan, is that if you are going out, you got to have it with you, because if you get checked, or I checked a guy last year who had just shot a bear, and when I went to check his license, he didn't have anything with him. So technically he's in violation, and it's like a $300 or $400 ticket for not having that piece of paper with you.
Does he get to keep the bear though?
Oh yeah, he was a good guy. Made some mistakes. He kept the bear and stuff, but we worked through the citation issued for it because it is still. Oh,
you still there, Jake?
yep.
Okay, just broke up a little bit there at the end.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Nope, you're good. Hey, Jake, I want a good reminder. I know you mentioned this the other day too, but this time of year, fall, maybe people going out there with ATVs, UTVs, and accessing the trail routes. Maybe a good refresher on the safety of hitting those routes.
Yeah. So the UTV, ATV stuff. I know we talked about it. We've talked about it a lot this summer, but I did ironically get a message from some of our internal staff that asked us to kind of promote it again, which works out great for our show here because we can hit on it every weekend. But it looks like, so there's a lot of numbers run, and I don't know if you guys saw last week. I actually just learned about it too, but I guess there's a pretty unfortunate ATV accident over in O'Connell County last weekend where a young kid lost his life. It's kind of opened the eyes to how many UTV, ATV fatals that we're having this year in Wisconsin. And there's a lot of factors. I mean, there's a lot more machines, there's a lot more road routes, there's a lot more trails. The summers are longer. There's so many things to it, but the important thing is that we're safe out there. So utilizing helmets, even if you're above 18, and wearing seatbelts, like everyone in the UTVs wearing seatbelts, is really important. So we're actually going to have kind of a blitz this weekend in the Warden Service and with some local sheriff's departments where we're going to be out there again, basically prioritizing ATV, UTV safety because it looks like we're going to have a record year for ATV deaths, which is unfortunate.
But again, I don't think people appreciate an ATV is not a pickup and it's not a car. And I know that they can drive them on the roads and things like that, but they cannot do the same thing. And you got to appreciate what you're driving and understand the difference in the vehicle you're driving. It's, like I said, not a car and not a pickup truck. They're different.
100%. They're different. They're different. And one of the main things is these machines are meant to be off-road, so they have low pressure tires. So they handle extremely differently on the roads, on different surfaces that isn't a ATV or UTV trail in the woods. And that's where people are taking corners too tight or driving too fast, or, you haven't driven an ATV in 10 years and you jump on and you just gun it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, people are crashing at an extremely high rate, and too many of them are dying from it and such like that. So it's really important to, when, doesn't matter your age, where you're at, whether it's private property, public property, is to go out there and be safe. Wear your helmet, wear your seatbelts, and just like you mentioned, Bob, is that there's no, a lot of these don't have roll bars, and if they do, some of them are pretty legit, and some are just there to be there. Like these machines aren't DOT approved or aren't NHTSA, whatever the vehicle manufacturers have to follow for our safety. A lot of these machines don't have to follow, so they're definitely not as safe as a regular vehicle on the road.
And that's what I've found from driving them is the turning. If you're at any speed level at all and try and turn these things, be careful because you can flip them. Slow down when you come into these turns because some people just want to go, just go. But the turning is where I've seen from riding them that you have to be really careful because they are different, and you can spill those things in a hurry if you're too aggressive on the turns.
Exactly, and a lot of times too, it's not even like first time riders or sometimes it's people that are very experienced, but they're pushing the limits of the machine or the trail and stuff like that, which ends up hitting someone else head on a trail or corner, or rolling it on a steeper than average turn or something like that. And unfortunately, just there's a lot of wardens have had to respond to a lot of deaths, and not only is it obviously bad for the warden and stuff, but it's 100 million times worse for the families of friends and dads and kids that never come home from just riding on an ATV or UTV. So if you're out on the trails this weekend, you'll probably see a heavy presence, which we try to have that, especially around here. We have a heavy presence every weekend, not year round, but most of the year. But we're just trying to get the word out again for be safe and ride safe when you're out there.
Absolutely. Well said there. Hey, Jake, we had this question come in late last week. So kind of an off the wall one here, but this texter said, we've been told for years that it's illegal to pick lily pad flowers. Is this true, or is that an old wives' tale?
So the short answer is that yes, it is illegal to remove aquatic plants from the lake. So there's a lot of different. It's weird. It seems like a simple little question, but there's actually a couple of different moving parts. So the main thing is that under our our invasive species laws and R40 is that it's illegal to remove any aquatic plant or water from the lake. Like you can't leave the boat launch with water in your bucket from the lake or in your live well, or you can't have any plants, in a bucket or on your trailer in your boat, stuff like that. So that would include like if you pick the flowers to bring them home for whatever reason, or to bring them home for whatever reason, or bring them off the water. Sometimes there are exemptions where a riparian homeowner, so it's like someone that owns the land immediately under the water, or a municipality or something, there are certain instances where potentially you could harvest those plants to like clear up the area for like a swim zone, or because it's affecting something with navigability or this or that. But generally, those, even if it's physical hand labor, you're going to need some sort of permit through the DNR. And I do have like a DNR contact. So if anyone ever asks questions, you can reach out to me and I'll get you to the appropriate person to find out if what you're doing is legal, illegal, if you need a permit or not. So you'd probably need a permit. So like the short answer of all that is that yes, it's illegal to remove any aquatic plant from a water body.
All right.
So how does that
all make sense?
Yep.
So how does that equate to if I had shoreline and one of the trees on my shoreline falls in the water? Is that all of a sudden an aquatic plant that I can't remove it?
No, that would be just that would be like debris that's fallen down.
But I've heard people that
fallen
say if it falls, if you take it when it's leaning and it's not in the water, it's okay. But if it gets into the water, then you get really in trouble for getting it out of the way if it's like just off the side of your dock or something. What?
No, you can remove it if it came down in a storm or just it rotted and fell, stuff like that. Now, if you decide that you want to create your own fish habitat and you cut down a tree or 8 trees on your shoreline and just dump them in the water for that reason, then there may be some issues with navigability, or even littering technically, because you're kind of you're depositing a solid substance into the waters of the state.
But if it falls off the bank by itself,
but if it falls off and you want to clean it up because it's in your way or this or that, that's something you can do. You don't need anything special for that. That's like nature caused it to fall. You just need to clean it up for whatever reason. It's when you intentionally drop them in to leave them there, or there's been a tree that's like cemented in the bottom of the lake for a decade or 2 decades, and all of a sudden today you decide that you want to rip it out. Then there might be an issue because you're not supposed to remove anything from the bed of a lake. But in this situation, if it just falls in and you're trying to clean up storm damage or basic maintenance, that would be okay.
All right. Good stuff there, Jake, as always. We appreciate the time, and be safe out there, as always, man, especially with hunting seasons kicking off and such too. So be safe out there, and we appreciate you answering our questions this morning.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. There's definitely some good questions, always good questions. And if anyone listening ever has like more specific questions or wants any clarification on what we talked about today, I always encourage you just to reach out to me or our general info line and ask the questions, and we're more than happy, or I'm more than happy to talk about it a little bit further.
Awesome. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
You got it. There you go. Jake Boakes, our conservation warden buddy for the great state of Wisconsin. Quick break here. Then we got a couple picks for our picks and predicts to make, including a football game tonight. And weird timing, too. Albert Breer, Monday morning quarterback, he talked to a bunch of NFL people. Here's your top quarterbacks. Where does Brock Purdy rank from those executives? Really quick before we get to some picks and predicts here, Mike with quick text. Good morning, Dan. Great show today. I want to say I can name a wide receiver on the Chiefs. Never liked him when he was with the Packers, so always figured he had to drop these MVS. Well, remember MVS got released.
I was going to say, is he still with them? I remember him last year, and he didn't set the world on fire for the Chiefs at all.
They do have Rice. He's got some legal stuff too, but then their rookie receiver, Xavier Worthy over there too. So Albert Breer, Monday morning quarterback, must have been listening to you ask this question about Brock Purdy, but he polled some dozens of NFL people out there, and they voted on who are the top quarterbacks in the league right now. Should be no surprise. Number one, Patrick Mahomes. No surprise. Joe Burrow came in at number two with the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 3 here, let me scroll down here a little bit. Number 3 was Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. Number 4, Lamar Jackson. Number 5, CJ Stroud. Number 6, Matthew Stafford. Number 7, Aaron Rodgers. Number 8, Justin Herbert. Number 9, Jordan Love. And number 10, Brock Purdy. But the little write-up, the larger question, or it says, everyone thinks Purdy will play well. The larger question seems to be, how much credit do you give the Niners quarterback for it? that 7 guys saw Purdy as one of the 5 best players at the position is a pretty nice step, considering the doubts have hovered as recently as last summer. Dak came in at number 11, by the way. So,
and I think that's pretty accurate for Dak Prescott. I don't consider him one of the top quarterbacks in the league. I think he's athletic, but I don't consider him a top quarterback.
Let's do some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room. If you are somebody who's looking to catch the game tomorrow because you don't have the streaming service to watch it, the Elbow Room will have it, plus drink specials.
What time is the
Green
game?
Bay? 7:30 tomorrow night.
I might interrupt you there, but
nope. Yep, 7:30 tomorrow night.
The Elbow Room will have it, huh?
Yep, the Elbow Room right next to the Banbury Place. They'll have the game for you. Also, don't forget to get your picks and predicts in for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. At our website, sportstalk1051.com, click on the Fan Cave tab, scroll all the way down there, and make your picks because we got a football game tonight. Chiefs hosting the Ravens. Who do you got there, big boy?
Well, I'm going to take the Chiefs till somebody knocks them off their perch, and they're going to be at home. I think the Chiefs are going to be the team to beat.
I know last year we had the Lions came in to open it up, and the Lions beat the Chiefs. No Travis Kelce in that game. I'm going to go with the Chiefs, though, tonight. The Ravens make me nervous. They have a lot of turnover on defense, especially coaches. A lot of those coaches left for head coaching opportunities. Their defense coordinator is a head coach with Seattle right now. Some of their guys went Miami's new defense coordinators from Baltimore. So maybe a little bit of an adjustment there, but I'm going to go with the Chiefs tonight.
Harbaugh has to be the most veteran coach with one team.
Tomlin.
Oh, Tomlin with the Steelers. Okay.
Yep.
But
the Harbaugh's up there too. Yeah.
Harbaugh has to be right up there. He's been there a long time.
Yep. I think those are the top 2 right now. And they're in the same division.
Yeah. Andy Reid's been with Kansas City now for quite a while.
Yep. He's up there too. I think Sean McVay. I mean, Matt LaFleur is the longest tenured in the division right now. If you think about it, in the NFC North. So,
receiver defer. Andy Reid's one of the top 5 coaches all time in the NFL.
I think he's solidified that now.
I think he has too.
If he's not 5, he's really close.
I can't help but think, and I know, this coaching in the NFL is so fluid. They go to how many teams, but when he was a quarterbacks coach at Green Bay, I mean, he never got a smell, and he went from here to Philadelphia to be the head coach. But if he had been the head coach of the Green Bay Packers all these years, how many Super Bowls do you think they'd have won with the creativity that this guy has as far as calling plays for the guys that we've had in there, Sherman and McCarthy and, oh, Lord, on and on and on. How many Super Bowls might we have had? I mean, this guy is so creative on the sideline, and he's so fun to watch. I mean, you look at him with that mustache and that body, and this guy's a football coach. Yeah, and he's one of the best of all time.
I think it would have been a very easy transition from Holmgren to Reid, and obviously somebody Favre has respected and adored over the years. I would be comfortable saying they would have had another one at least.
Oh, I would think they'd have 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, I would have.
Rodgers besides.
Assuming it all stayed that way, and but
yeah, ifs and buts were candy and nuts, as Don Meredith used to say.
Really quick couple of baseball games that we do have on the docket as well. Minnesota at Tampa Bay. Is Minnesota actually going to get a win this afternoon?
Boy, I hope so. I hope so. It's just like they're all of a sudden snake bit. They just can't get out of their own way. And I earlier, a month ago, I thought they're going to blow by Cleveland in that division, but it hasn't happened.
I'm going to go Minnesota as well tonight. How about the Diamondbacks at the Giants?
Diamondbacks are hot again in this, what's his name?
Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll. He's got about a 15 or 16 game hitting streak going. He's playing to his Rookie of the Year talents.
Merrill Kelly versus Blake Snell on the mounds. I'll go with the Giants with the victory today. So And that's going to be about as much time as we have for some picks.
Are we done already?
Yeah,
Oh.
we got about 30 seconds left there, big
Time
man.
goes
So,
fast when you're having fun.
right, exactly. We didn't get into too many arguments today. That's a first.
Well, you agree to disagree on some things. We all look at things differently.
Yep.
And we don't argue. We just
Banter.
Banter. That's a good word for it.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
So,
I miss not having my buddy here in the corner.
first day of school yesterday.
Yeah,
so
I know that.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. He's old enough to be in school. What grade is he in? First or second? Or
second.
Second grade already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
And he told me last night when he was getting ready for bed, said, "All right, hug." It's like, Dad, I'm in second grade now. I'm too old for that. I'm like, no.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's gonna be a long
He's
year.
a little man.
Yep. All right.
Go Pack, go.
There you go. Have a good rest of your day. Reminder, we'll be at Hy-Vee tomorrow morning doing the program to kick off the Packer season. Stop by, grab some breakfast, beep the horn, yell a little Go Pack, go.